Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spring 2023 Peace Conference for the Peaceful Solution. I'd like to encourage everybody who's sitting in the back to move up front and so we can have some nice audience participation because we're going to have some teaching sessions later. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've had a whole peace conference. Last time we had a conference was in fall 2019, and since then we've had a lot take place in the world. We had an entire global pandemic. We had a war breakout between Russia and Ukraine, and that's been going on. We've had a lot of school shootings take place. We had a few just a couple weeks ago. So the world has still been going pretty crazy. To anybody watching online or to anybody here who's not familiar with the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, the Peaceful Solution is an organization that's dedicated to bring peace to the entire world, big goal, to bring peace to the entire world by changing the hearts and minds of people through character education. Now that might seem extreme, but the Peaceful Solution has made a lot of progress starting in the homes, branching out to communities, working with schools, and even working with government in order to reach this goal, and is making great moves. Today we plan to share all of this with you and give you updates on the things we've been doing in the world. And I think you'll really enjoy seeing a lot of the updates that we have for you. Now today's theme, as you can see behind me, is positive character has no generation gap. Positive character has no generation gap. Sometimes it's hard. It's very difficult for the older generations and the younger generations to see eye to eye, because things were simply different back in their time, and it's a lot different now. There's a lot of different influences that they had that we don't have, and that the younger generation doesn't have. There's a lot of influences that the younger generation has that the older generation didn't have. There's cell phones. There's a lot more technology. A lot of influences are a lot more readily available. So that makes it a lot more difficult at times for there to be a connection between the two generations. But it is possible for that connection to be there. And when both generations work hard and make sure that they're determined to help each other and to actually understand each other, we can bridge that gap. And that's what we're looking forward to doing. So I'd also like to thank the House of Yahweh for allowing us to use their facility for the Peaceful Solution. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to our partners in peace, who have a wonderful presentation for us so that we can get started for the day. Everyone give them a round of applause.
Welcome, everyone, to the Spring 2023 Educational Conference on Peace. Now, it has been said that the world is made up of two kinds of people, both followers and leaders. A more accurate statement would be that the world is made up of all kinds of people who have the ability to learn how to lead. We can clearly see that our society is in a downward spiral towards a moral decline. Places like our homes, schools, grocery stores, or even simply the park is no longer a safe haven or a safe place to raise your family or to even spend a night out with a grandparent. Regardless of our cultural differences, our age range, the place you were born, you currently live, or the place that you were raised, we're all feeling the pain, and we are all feeling the effects that this moral decline is having on our society as a whole. Our hope for you today, those who are here with us and those of you who are watching online, is that you see the simplicity of the Peaceful Solution. That when these concepts, as basic as they might seem, when they're implemented into our daily interactions with one another, that they can ripple out and have an effect not only on our immediate circle, on our families, on our society, but it has the potential to ripple out and to change the world. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you three of our future leaders of peace.
Do you know that parents are important? Well, of course they are. Wait, why are they important? Parents take care of us and teach us too. Oh yeah, that's right. Wait, what do they teach us? Parents teach us how to behave and make right choices. Oh yes, and to be kind and moral too. And to be responsible. The world needs more responsible people. Yes, responsible, moral people make the world a better place. They become great leaders, and we need more great leaders in the world. Hey, we could be leaders when we grow up and make the world a better place. That's a great idea. We can become the future leaders of the world. So we should listen to our parents. Because parents are important.
And now we would like to turn it back over to our partners of peace.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program's 2023 spring seminar we're having here. It's really great once again to get back into presenting this on a global scale. Of course, the work of the Peaceful Solution hasn't stopped. There have been many challenges with things such as COVID and borders being locked down, and of course, interaction between nations due to technology has never stopped. We've been able to continue to conduct ourselves in a normal, everyday level of education, and that is one thing that has been promoted by the author of the Peaceful Solution, Yisrael Hawkins. And I want to talk just briefly about how the author himself and the way that he created this program and the team that he put together when it was originally created was able to close that gap, was able to bridge that gap from the very beginnings of the program. Now, of course, dictionary.com defines gap as a wide divergence or difference, a disparity. A difference or disparity in attitudes, perception, character, or development, or a lack of confidence or understanding perceived as creating a problem. As we go through life, and this is one thing the author of the Peaceful Solution has put and instilled within the minds of every student that has ever been able to gather information. As a child, when we are born, we're born knowing nothing. You don't know how to walk. You don't know how to talk. There's a lot of things that are put within you from your parents, but things such as hatred and racism are things you have to learn. You're not born being that way. You have to be taught. And of course, we go through a level of education, and the main source of education for the majority of us is going to schools, whether it be homeschool or public school. And of course, once you enter into that school system, you have many friends, and that's when you start getting into learning about peer pressures and conformity and actually seeing what a true friend is. And everything we learn, we put in that database we call a brain. And through those experiences, that's where we actually learn how to conduct ourselves, how to make decisions, where we can pull from those experiences that we put in our storage base. And of course, the author of the Peaceful Solution has always told us that education is the key to peace. Knowing how to make the right decision is the key to doing these things. Now, he was a man that went through many experiences because he was born August of 1934 in the middle of a dust bowl, in a time that was of great stress on the nation of the United States, a time of depression as it's known. And he was able to experience many things. A man that once traveled and actually was born with a covered wagon as his parents traveled to Oklahoma, which is very different than what we see in society today. He went through plowing fields with mules. He didn't have tractors. He had a Model A Ford that he said he put thousands of miles on. The tires never went bad. And of course, he also seen how technology increased in his lifetime from having no automotive, no one having really these things in their life, to everyone having them. He also talked about how when families valued sitting at the dinner table and talking about the experiences of the day, that was one way the parents were able to talk with the children and kind of help them develop their database. But society today has become to where everyone wants to sit in front of the TV, and that interaction between parent and child has disappeared. And that's the gap that has been created. That's the gap that has caused our society to slip, so to speak. He worked very hard explaining how when he grew up, as most of us here grew up, we had chores. We mowed the grass. Of course, many people here, if you lived in farmland, you helped gather hay, you washed dishes. Those were the things that actually helped build the character within and develop a personality that was beneficial also to society. But a society we live in today with technology has also developed where people will sit endless hours in connecting to people all around the world with video games and violence. Now, the author of The Peaceful Solution let us know that it was the studying and the education and the teaching and the caring, the true care and concern, having respect for society is what is needed to bring forth peace. And that gap is, just as with a child, is something that has to be created. It's not a gap that exists unless we create that gap. And that gap is created through a lack of education. But whenever society is pulled back in, and we're going to see how this author of The Peaceful Solution, who had an idea put into his mind as a young child from something his father said, that two wrongs don't make a right. And as a young child, that stuck with him throughout his whole life. We're going to see how an idea of one man who put together a team has spread around the world. And it truly has brought peace to where peace was thought not to be achievable. And of course, we're also going to see that not everything is like we see in a developed nation. Some nations, there's more of a challenge, but we're still getting it done as a group, as a team. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to one of our younger speakers, Yahab Heiler.
Hello everyone. My name is Yahab Heiler. Welcome to the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program Conference. The title of my presentation today is, In a World Full of Negativity, We Can Still Choose to Have Positive Character. What is a generation gap? A generation gap is a lack of understanding between older and younger people that results from different life experiences. For example, I've always wanted a trampoline, but my parents have seen many people get hurt on them, so they told me I could not have one or even be on one. Another example, my parents told me when they were growing up they had a phone connected to the wall. Sounds strange to me. I have only seen smartphones. Can you imagine having to stand in one place on the phone connected to the wall? Well, now that we have a better understanding of what a generation gap is, what does it mean to have positive character? To answer that, we need to first know what is character. In the Character Unit, Chapter 1, page 25, the second paragraph, it says, Character, on the other hand, is what helps you to determine what is right and wrong. Character defines the way you treat others and the way you treat yourself and the way you treat others. It dictates your moral and ethical beliefs. It is not as easy to recognize a person's character as it is to recognize their personality. Morals, as simply defined by the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, are rules. It's like a line that divides right from wrong behavior. People from all walks of life, young or old, rich or poor, big or small, share some of the same basic concepts of moral values. Regardless of how old we are, where we live, everyone wants to feel safe. Everyone wants to feel important and know that they matter. We want to trust that our belongings will not be stolen, or go to the park and not fear who might not be there and fear the worst. So, what does your character say about you? How do you treat others? In the Character Unit, page 14, it says, Your character is made up of different qualities. Character is made up of different qualities. They are called character traits. People who have moral character show by their actions and attitude that they care about themselves and others. For example, if you find money on the ground and you don't see who it could belong to, what is your first thought? To pocket it for yourself or try to find the owner? That is displaying the character trait of honesty, trustworthiness. What about when your friends or siblings say they have permission to do something from a parent, and instead you just go along with it Instead of just going along with it, you check to make sure that it is right before doing it. How about when you see someone being mistreated, bullied, or hear someone saying mean or hateful things about others? What should you do? Pull out your phone and film it, post it online, or go get an authority and show that person they matter? That is being respectful, compassionate, and courageous. Courageous is doing what needs to be done even when you are afraid. So you see, no matter the age, there are always those simple values we share: being treated with care, not being stolen from, not being lied to about, and more. So if you are asking yourself, do I have a positive character? Look at the way you treat others and compare it to the positive side of character traits spoken in the character unit, page 14 and 15. Educated, respectful, patient, honest, trustworthy, humble, thankful, forgiving, steadfast, persistent, and self-control. Whether young or old, there is no generation gap to peace. We all want peace. Developing a positive character is possible, and it's built with each choice you make. I thank you for your time. I'd like to turn it over to Nathaniel Alexander.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nathaniel Alexander, and the title of my speech is Ownership Transcends All Ages. What does ownership mean, and how does it impact society? Behaving morally in regards to the possessions and property of others means to recognize that everyone owns things and values what they own. What one person values, another may not, but it is still necessary to keep the possessions of others, just as you would want your belongings respected. Did you know that you have rights concerning what belongs to you? This is called the right of ownership. This means that you have the authority to make decisions about what you own. You also have the right to enjoy what you own without the fear that it could be stolen. Recognizing this moral concept means accepting that everyone else has authority and rights of ownership over his or her possessions as well. Here are a few examples of ownership in the various life stages. While at the library with his mother, a young boy sees a colorful book on the shelf, and it immediately reaches for it. His mother kindly reminds him to ask first. He makes the right choice, asks his mother if he can pick it up, to which she said yes. The little boy enjoyed looking through the pages of the colorful book while at the library that day. One day at work, you noticed that your stapler was missing just after lunch. Your coworker comes by with it and places it on your desk. You asked him to please ask first the next time, then he needs to use your stapler. Respecting the rights of ownership is a big step in achieving peace in the world today. Let's use this concept in our everyday interactions starting now. And now I'd like to turn it over to Benjamin Alexander.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Alexander, and I'd like to start my presentation off with the definition of generation gap. So, the title of my presentation is Positive Character Has No Generation Gap. Let's conform to the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. The definition of generation gap. The definition of generation gap differences of outlook or opinion between people or different generations. People of different generations. Part of the theme of this event is conform to the peaceful solution. Conforming to the peaceful solution is positive conformity. In fact, the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program talks about this very thing in the Self-Control Unit, page 130. And it's the very thing in the Self-Control Unit. It's the very thing, and it's the first paragraph under the title Conformity and Peer Pressure. And it says, to conform is to change your beliefs and attitudes and actions in order to meet certain standards. All people conform in one way or another. Conformity is a normal part of the way we live and function. In order to stay in business and make a profit, clothing designers, automobile manufacturers, and the movie industry all depend on our need to conform to popular trends and styles. Now, let's talk a little bit about positive and negative character traits. Positive and negative character. In the character unit, the character unit discusses positive character and the development of it. On page 3, the second paragraph, last two sentences, it says, remember your character is what makes you who you are. So it's best that we make it positive. Your character will determine what you stand for and what you fall for. If you stand for positive character, you won't regret it. But if you don't stand for what is right, then you will fall for anything. Now here are some positive character traits. They are educated, respectful, patient, honest, trustworthy, humble, thankful, forgiving, steadfast, persistent, and self-control. Now, let's talk a little bit about negative character. Some things that have the potential to negatively influence positive character are video games that promote war, movies, TV, and friends that set a bad example, and so forth. In conclusion, I encourage all of you to conform to the peaceful solution. In doing so, we will bridge the gap in many generations. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sean. Today I'd like to discuss the effects and the impact that the peaceful solution has had on communities I've been involved in and also myself. With a society full of media and news and all these different things that impact our mind that we see daily on TV and also with interactions between people. You see wars, we see violence, we see greed, we see all these things for power and material possessions. And in society, a lot of us grew up when we were younger. I remember when I was a child that my grandmother and my grandfather, they would instill things like to hold the door open for elders as they're entering into a room or a store, or to help somebody across the street when they see it. So these things were instilled. In today's society, the things that are instilled in the children of today are things that are on TV, things that are in the movies, things that bring excitement and glamour and really grab the attention. It has been lost with that by desensitization, because after seeing so many things over and over again, you don't realize what it is that it is anymore. It's just a common thing. It's just the same thing. So all of these are influences that come into your mind on a daily basis. It doesn't stop. Between every conversation you have with somebody, it impacts you. And influence is anything that can affect the way you think, feel, and act. So in essence, yes, all of these things have a huge impact on who you mold yourself into. So depending on what kind of movies, what kind of company you keep, is going to be who you are. The most important thing that we need to focus on is the fact to be educated, which is the first and most important character trait. The positive character trait is to get all the facts before making a decision. If you don't have decisions, if you don't have the facts on all the decisions, you just act on emotions. And those emotions are all impulses that is just a quick reaction to things. And it has an extreme impact on those that are young, those that are medium age, and those that are older. It's very important to realize that naturally we imitate what we learn. So in order to have the right things inside of us, we have to put it into ourselves. Being involved in communities, I've seen communities where there's been a lot of crime. There's been a lot of different things where people are very rude and disrespectful to family members. And simple things where they would just go into people's personal belongings without asking, without even considering another person's feelings. And after seeing the Peaceful Solution Character Education promoted in schools and job sites and work areas, I've seen that these people would actually ask people for permission instead of just go up and take things. And they recognize the fact that people have their own possessions and that they belong to them. Without that, we see from TV, from media, the fact that it's just important to obtain these things. It doesn't matter how you get them. And when you don't consider those things, you hurt lots of people. It has a profound ripple effect on others. Like when you throw a rock into a pond, it ripples outward. The same thing with our thoughts and with our actions, our body languages, all these things ripple out on each other. I never knew what the difference between character and personality was ever before. I thought it was the same thing, as many of us do, because we are all attracted to things that are similar to one another. I've learned that character is the combination of morals and beliefs morals and beliefs that dictates how we treat others, the environment, and ourselves, as the means by which we distinguish between right and wrong. I've learned that personality is our likes and dislikes, type of music we listen to, our most liked colors, all of these things. And if you form relationships that's just based on personality, you don't really see who that person really is. So because we are desensitized by the media and the things that are always pushed into our mind, we don't recognize the difference between right and wrong. So again, it's important to get educated on the difference of right and wrong. And the best way to learn is to be as simple as possible. With the Peaceful Solution Character Education program, it's a very back to the basics program where those simple little character traits are instilled in your mind. And again, if you don't have them in your mind, you won't know the difference of them. So as we continue on this journey of life, it's very important to realize the impact that we have on other people. Because as you can see in the world today, it is very disarrayed. There are a lot of dangers and a lot of extremities that are right at our footsteps right now. And the only way to change is by changing yourself. And the only way to do that is to get educated. I'm thankful that the author, Yisrael Hawkins, was able to design a program like this that could actually impact and affect others in a positive way, that could create hope for those in need. And we all need hope. We all need help in some form or fashion. So it's very possible to be able to be a positive ripple effect to another person. I thank you for your time, and I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Hope everybody's enjoying the seminar. It's a great honor to be able to come and speak to all of you. My name's Michael, and I'll be talking today. I'm one of the lead music directors, and I thought I would be speaking on that, but I have the great joy to teach a class in Trinidad on Sunday mornings, and so they wanted me to speak a little bit on what's going on with the classes there. And, you know, recently we just finished page 90 of the character unit, which is Your Reputation Precedes You. And we went through all this stuff in the program. And, you know, and there's many advantages to maintaining a positive character, and of course one of which is your reputation. Because everybody knows you by your reputation, whether it's a negative reputation known for doing things that are immoral, improper, or things that are of benefit. So your overall quality of your character is seen through your reputation. And people judge you by your reputation, whether it's one of doing things you should not be doing, excuse me, that brings problems to your family, society, your neighborhood, or things you're doing that are a benefit. So we discussed this amongst the people in the class, and most of the people in the class are small business owners. And so we started talking about different things in Trinidad that they had seen from being part of the program. And myself and one of the lead teachers there, Mr. Earl Nickey, we discussed this, had everybody bring forth different examples. And one thing about your character is if you have a reputation of one that's positive and moral, you're known by that, by your supervisor, by your teachers, parents, guardians, by the community of having a proper, moral, positive reputation. And there were situations that arose where, you know, other workers, something occurred in the workplace, and other workers were pointing the finger at, excuse me, one of the Peaceful Solution students. And because he had been practicing this program, because he had made it part of his life, his supervisor knew that that's what he had in his life, and he was going by the workplace manual. And the supervisor ended up saying, "You can't get me to believe that for 1 minute." And he knew and presented to him the moral excellence in the workplace. And one thing that's great about this program is this is not just for adults. You can get this. Now, we heard this discussed about chores, children having chores. And this is a great way to connect with your children. And the men in this class had discussed the different situations that, because of practicing the program, their reputation preceded them, and they were known for their positive moral character. Well, they're instilling that now into their children, and they discussed the different ways how they have their children doing this. Like I said, this doesn't matter how old you are. This can be applied to their chores, and they can start learning these things. And I highly encourage you, you can get the PDF for this book if you go to peacefulsolution.org. You can get the PDF for this and start guiding your children through this. And in Trinidad, they're using it with their children and helping them understand that if they're doing a chore for their parents, or if they're cleaning up at the end of the day at school, that their teachers start to see the certain students that are going through this program, and they start to build a positive reputation with their teachers. Okay? So the students start showing the positive reputation of being trustworthy, responsible, and dependable, because they have these character traits now that are being instilled in them in their own workplace, whether it be cleaning their room at home or taking out the garbage or doing these little things, or again, you know, helping their teachers at school or helping in the community doing anything. So I highly encourage you to get the workplace manual and start going through it with your children and help instill these traits into the children. Now, one thing about in Trinidad, a lot of the men in the class are small business owners. And they had mentioned to me that not only their supervisors or their construction managers or customers would come in, and it increased their business. It increased the amount of customers they had coming in, and opened up more opportunities for them to have other jobs in the areas they worked in. One of which is one of the students in the class is a plumber contractor. And he has found himself getting more and more jobs assigned to him and also coming to him because his reputation is starting to spread through the community. And people want that. They want someone they can trust in to do the job right. They want someone that they know they can depend upon to get it done correctly and not try and get one over them on them, so to speak, or to try and steal from them and not do the job that is supposed to be done and cutting corners. So it's a great manual. It really helps a lot. And there was one situation where one of the men owns a small taxi service. And he, because of applying the workplace manual in his life, he goes out of his way to help the people when he picks them up and to take them wherever. He doesn't just take them and drop them off. He makes sure that they get to where they go and make sure that they have all their stuff that they had with them. Make sure if they're elderly that they get into where they're going. You know, he just doesn't go pick them up and drop them off and head on. So he applies other principles and character traits to what he does and goes above and beyond the call of duty in his job, and it's increasing his inflow of more customers. And it's very important that we instill these things into our children to help them develop a character in their workplace so that when they grow older, they will excel and be successful and be able to apply these things also in their life. So again, I encourage you to get the workplace manual and go through it with your children. Start small, start with little things and help them apply it, because age doesn't matter. You know, everybody can learn the workplace manual, whether they're 1 year old or they're 15 or they're 80. It's a great manual to apply to your life, not only in the workplace, but in your work ethic, whether it be in the workplace or at home, whether it be at school or in, you know, any given situation in society when you join the community to help out in things. We want to always encourage, when people are learning the peaceful solution, to help them, to guide them, and to make sure that they're always going down the right path that's going to benefit them, their families, their neighborhood, society, and the environment, which is the main goal of the peaceful solution. Always be encouraging, because it takes a lot. It's a little bit at a time, a little here, a little there, and they will start growing in these things, and it will become part of their normal routine. But children, you know, it starts with cleaning their room. It starts with cleaning the garage, you know. They have these chores, as Mr. Heiler had mentioned, and, you know, children want to play all the time, but you can help them find the fun and joy in work too. And that's another thing that the workplace manual addresses, is it addresses to making sure that, you know, you find joy in everything you do. Therefore, it benefits you, and others see that, and it ripples out, and your character starts to grow in positive character, and then your reputation goes out amongst the community as one who can be dependable, trustworthy, can be counted on for things, and to make sure that you're there to help. And that's the main thing that the author of The Peaceful Solution had always brought out, that the peaceful solution is here to help you, is to help the community, help society as a whole be able to end the problems we have with society. And again, you know, shutting off the TV and doing things as a family is very important. And media, multimedia, and all this stuff is beneficial for getting this program out, but it should not be the end game when it comes to developing your character. You know, you have the books, and there's something about sitting down with a book, whether it be the character manual or the workplace or the building moral excellence manuals. You can sit down and read these with your family. So again, in closing, the work in Trinidad is really growing. There's many people beginning to come to the program, and we have some people here from Trinidad that are involved in the program heavily. So I highly encourage you to continue in your journey in developing a positive character so that you too can have a reputation that precedes you that's positive and uplifting and beneficial to not only you, but all those who come in contact with you. And with that, I have the joy to turn it over to two great teachers in the Peaceful Solution, Mr. Robert Franza and Mr. Roland Fuller.
Thank you for that warm introduction. Again, my name is Robert Franzer, and
My name is Roland Fuller.
and yes, we're both assigned to teach the Peaceful Solution in various places in India at this time. And what I'd like to do this morning is just give you an update of the work that's taken place there and the growth of the Peaceful Solution in that area. Basically, some time ago, there was a gentleman from India who he occurs to be a teacher and a minister. And he gravitated to a Peaceful Solution site online on Facebook, and that I had posted on my personal Facebook page. And from there, he'd been going into looking at the different curriculums that we have available with the Peaceful Solution, and it created a big interest in him wanting the program implemented in his country. So after having several conversations with him, he was asking, well, do we teach the classes in India? So basically, that interest led to the director, Chris Heiler, allowing us to set up a Skype program where we're teaching the people in the area. It's called Andhra Pradesh State, India, which is in the southern eastern half of India, in that region there. And what interests him about the program is the fact that he hasn't seen anything like it, where you have morals being taught without sounding religious, and it's a universal set of principles that is not taught in school. And he acknowledged that, and that actually led me to deal with him further on the issue. And one of the things that was plaguing India, and that part of India at this time, is the fact that they have a large amount of suicides taking place. And the suicides vary from different reasons. It could be class warfare. You know, there's a division between the have and the have-nots, rich and poor, and it's pretty prevalent in that area, as well as some other areas within the state of India. So that was a challenge. Another challenge is the mistreatment of the women in some of those regions. And there's also bullying that goes on among the youth, as well as the interactions between the adults and the youth as well. So all these things, piqued an interest, and he was gravitating even to some of the links that were furnished to him concerning the Peaceful Solution on YouTube. And again, it just added to the work that of many people and the great job that they have done in communicating the points they wanted to raise and bring forth in the Peaceful Solution lessons. And it created a serious interest. And we started the program, Roland and myself, on Skype, and the big challenge we had at first was dealing with the language barrier. See, in India, you have over 100 different dialects, if not more, and there's several main languages, like 4 of them, and some of them have English words in it, and some don't. But the challenge we have to use a translator when we teach the lessons, and that's very challenging. However, we prevailed and we worked out the kinks along the way, and we achieved some success, and we noticed that each week we do the classes, that the classes are growing and the word is spreading. And word was leaking out into his community about what he was doing, and they invited him to go to a school to address students and teachers and political officials where they were having some kind of tension and uprisings between the teachers and the students, in some cases students on students, and the administrators. And basically they invited him to come over and give a presentation in order to quell the situation and to rectify the problems. And and he did a brief presentation on peaceful solution, and the incident had serious news coverage, and he was able to quell the situation. And so now there are more people knocking on his door wanting to know more about the peaceful solution as a result. And I'll turn this over to Roland now to share a few words.
First of all, we're very thankful and we're appreciative today that all of you are here at this conference, at the Peaceful Solution Conference. And we have seen a great growth in India. As Robert was talking to you and was telling you some of the things about that people in India go through each day, a lot of what we call bullying here, they call ragging in India. And they have a real difficulty with a lot of that throughout their country. And also the suicides among the teens. What we have seen in our classes, the joy that the teens get in coming to the Peaceful Solution class, you can see it on their faces, their smiles. They come, they're so excited. In fact, the teacher even told us that they can't wait until you get to come to see them. And it's really awesome when you see people on the other side of the globe who are interested in this wonderful program that is being taught each and every day. The Peaceful Solution Character Education Program does change the hearts and the minds. If you was to see what we see each Sunday, we see a change each week. We see the growth in the class. We've seen the classes grow and grow, and it's amazing. It's amazing what we have seen. And we're going to show you a picture here. There's a picture. Look at them. They're excited. Instead of learning video games, instead of having different things to entertain them, they get involved, they come, they learn, and this teacher is very diligent in teaching them. You can see he greets us with a smile, and even though we don't understand their language, we are able to see the fruit of our labor by the turnout and by the smiles and the compliment that's given. And we want to thank you for your opportunity to see this and to help us get behind the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, because it does work, because it first changes us and then it changes others. With that, I'll turn it back over to Rob.
And also, there is some intentions and plans in the future to get the curricula translated into their native tongue and language, which would be a great progress. If we were able to do that, it will help, because not everybody there speaks the English language. So, we welcome that opportunity, and through the efforts of everyone involved in the Peaceful Solution, I'm sure that mission will be accomplished. And I, again, thank you all. And I welcome the next speaker.
Wonderful presentations. Please give everybody another round of applause. That was incredible. Let me get a show of hands in the audience. How many of y'all are parents? Wonderful. How many of y'all are children of parents? Let's see everybody's hands. Okay, wonderful. So I want y'all to think about growing up when you were a child, or if you are children now. You know, what are some of the things that, you know, you were doing something and you just, there seemed to be a disconnect between you and your parents. And sometimes that caused conflict in the household. Sometimes they worked out very well, but sometimes it might have caused conflict. Whether it was the way you wanted to dress, or some of the things you wanted to do, some of the activities you wanted to do. I know, you know, several years ago, and a lot of the young people today would not get this, but you would be outside playing all day long or all afternoon long, and you didn't come home until the streetlights came on. And there was even advertisements on TV, you know, at a certain time at night. Do you know where your children are? Make sure your children are in the house. A lot of times now, you know, it's not safe to go outside for the young children today and, you know, have activities outside. Another thing, for instance, I know one of the younger speakers spoke this morning about cell phones. You know, a lot of the older generation, and I apologize to y'all who are in this generation, it's not a bad thing to be in the older generation, but there was a phone on the wall, and you talked on the phone on the wall to your friends and your family. And somebody else at the other end of the house could pick up the phone and listen in on the conversation if they wanted to. Now everybody has their own cell phone in their pocket, and they can make calls and they can talk to whoever they want to at any time. When the cell phones first started coming out, you had minutes, and you had to pay for a certain amount of minutes, and at the end of the week you could talk to, you know, other people, you could talk to more people. You could only text for a certain amount of time. Now all this stuff is just readily available at everybody's fingertips. So there's a lot of things that have changed really, really, really fast over the years when it comes to this generation gap. And there's a lot of things that could cause that generation gap to pull further and further apart and get wider and wider between the older generation and the older generations and the younger generations. You know, so keeping all of this in mind, you know, we have to remember that there's a lot of things that simply aren't understood between the generations, or that we might not really think of. You know, it's easy. I've heard a lot of the older generation tell the younger generation, you just need to get a job and pay your bills and work, and you'll be able to do all these things that I did. When I was your age, I bought a house and I did all this other stuff. Money is so much different now. Inflation has caused a lot of prices to be just insane, to where the same job that pays, what, $12, $13 an hour is not going to provide you with enough money to be able to buy a house. There's so many different things that are different. So as teachers of the Peaceful Solution, students of the Peaceful Solution, and people who are trying to better their lives and better the lives of their families and bridge that gap, we have to, A, have empathy. First, realize that there are a lot of differences and be able to empathize with both generations. For the younger ones, they have to realize what the older generation went through, be able to learn from them, be able to take those experiences, bring them into their lives and make better decisions. And the older generation as well, to be able to bridge that gap. So think about, you know, if you're a parent or if you're a child or wherever you are in the spectrum, think about what are some things that I can do, especially if there's disagreements between you and your parents or parent and child. Think about what are some things I can do to understand their point of view, to understand the things that are plaguing them. What did I go through as a child? How is it different now? What did they go through as adults? How is it different for me now? And bridge that gap. And it's very possible to do. I've seen it done. Another thing too, you know, as children, as young people, it's very easy to just look at the older generation, look at our parents, and say they don't get it, and even begin to kind of hate your parents. But really, how is that helping any of the situations? Hating your parents, you know, that's not going to bridge the gap. You know, and sure, there might be there's abusive situations, and there's all kinds of things like that, which are horrible. But that hatred won't get you, you know, it won't make progress in the situation. So how do we deal with those situations? And you might hear some more about that today as well, because those are pretty crazy situations. But hatred isn't the answer. So it's understanding that. They had things that they went through. Just as we're going through things as children, they had things that they went through. They grew up with rough childhoods or whatever it might be. And you might not be able to help them directly, but you can help them by talking to people who you trust, talking to people who you care about, so that you can cope with these situations, talking to Peaceful Solution teachers about it, so that you can start to bridge that gap, because the gap is bridgeable, and everybody can improve and get better. So I'd also like to talk about a little bit more about what the events of the day are going to be. We're going to have some presentations from Trinidad later this afternoon, where the Peaceful Solution, because I know we haven't really had an event, but the Peaceful Solution's still been doing a lot of work. There's a lot of work been done in Trinidad, a lot of work been done in Mexico, below the border, the United States border, and not just Mexico, a lot of the South American countries, a lot of Latin America. A lot of work has been going. There's schools, there's a whole bunch of different work going on down there. It's simply incredible. You'll be blown away by some of the things that are going on down there. There's also work going on in the UK, which is incredible work going on there. And there's also work that continues to be done throughout the United States in places like Laredo, Arkansas, all throughout the United States, work being done there, being taught in schools, prisons as well. We're going to have some discussions about the prisons, and that's going to be awesome as well. Let's see here. I feel like I'm forgetting a few things. But at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our partners in peace, who are going to continue with the morning session, and we're going to have a great time. Everybody give them a round of applause.
Okay. Hi, welcome. I want to say thank you to our partners of peace. Continuing on in our session today, we will hear from different point of views. The women speaking today are mothers, wives, siblings, teachers, and role models who strive to close the gap and understand where our youth are coming from. I know at times we seem sometimes lost and confused, but I want you to trust the process because it is working. We're finding ourselves, and thanks to your teaching and your inputs, we will become positive leaders. Keep trying with us, and we will continue to try with you. And I want us to keep in mind that it has to be willingness from both sides and effort put in from both sides. And today, I want you to remember to take mental notes, because the tips that you will learn today, they are simple but effective, and they do work. Let us bridge the gap and create a bond so tight that nothing will pull us apart. Please stand and welcome our speaker coordinator, who can give us more insights on this vast topic, okay?
Hello, everyone. It is a great honor and privilege to stand before you and have the opportunity to introduce our female speakers. Each one will give an account of her life as to how the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program has benefited them in their lives and rippled outward and touched the lives of others. I'm fully confident that after you hear their speeches, you will truly realize and know that the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program bridges the gaps between all generations. No one's ever too young or too old to practice it in their lives, and when we do practice it, it works. So if you please will put your hands together, and I will turn it over to our first speaker.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Please get comfortable in your seats. Welcome, parents, teachers, mentors, teens, and children of all ages. As a middle school teacher, I spend a lot of time with preteens and teenagers. Teenagers, you know, that awkward age between about 13 and 25, when we expect them to act like adults, but their brains and their bodies are still developing. And if you've spent any time around them, you know that they often speak a foreign language with lots of inside jokes. In my class, I'm not afraid to ask them what something means, and I think for the most part, they give me an accurate translation. Although I do witness the occasional snicker and side glance, and I wonder what I have missed. Now, that's not to be mistaken for the side eye when they're ignoring you. And I'll be honest, I definitely don't know everything there is to know about teenagers. I'm still trying to figure out who Karen is and why she keeps appearing in their conversations. All right, so today I'm here to try to bridge that gap between teenagers and adults. And to help me with this speech, I asked a special group of preteens and teenagers what they'd like me to say to parents and mentors. All right, 2 hours later, I had 4 pages of notes and I could teach a workshop on it. And although they didn't realize it, their top parenting tips, yes, that came from the teens, can all be found in the parenting manual. So today I'm going to cover 2 points for time's sake, but I encourage everyone to read page 84 and 85 of the parenting manual, Tips for Young Adults. All right, so tip number 1 is actually tip number 4 on the page. Tip number 4 is listen more than you talk. Allow your child to speak to you with respect and use your active listening skills to encourage him or her to talk. Look for the intent of their words. Only when you are aware of his or her feelings, needs, and concerns, or what gives him or her joy, sadness, or pain, can you guide them in a positive direction. Now, teenagers do not always make it easy for us. Even if you ask them how they're doing, okay, simple question, how are you doing? What's a typical response? I'm fine, right? I'm fine. Okay. Now, parents, I'm fine almost never means that they are fine. All right? Put that in your dictionary for teens. Now, I'm fine can mean many things. I'm fine might mean I'm not fine, but I want you to show me that you care and pry a little more. Ask me follow-up questions. How was school? How was your day? All right. I'm fine can also mean I'm not okay, but I don't want to talk about it right now. Ask me later. Now, how do you tell the difference? All right. Well, my teen consultants said it's all about the tone of voice, the body language, and reading the whole thing. Okay. Because one tone of voice says, ask me more, the other tone of voice says, no, I don't want to talk about it right now. And as a teacher, I've also found that I'm fine at 8 o'clock in the morning on a school day means something completely different. I'm fine means I'm still asleep. Ask me that question in a couple hours after I have woken up. And parents, if you have any doubts in what I'm fine means for your teens, ask them to demonstrate. All right, so parents and guardians, it has been my experience that most children and teenagers, they want to be able to talk to you. They want to be able to tell you what is going on in their lives. Now, sometimes they feel like they can't. Some are afraid you'll be disappointed in them, afraid that you will punish them, terrified that you will take away their life, also known as their phone. Yep. Afraid that if they tell you, you will tell every one of your friends and family members what they have done. Some don't want to be a bother. Some see your stress and don't want to add to it. So they try to deal with their problems on their own because they don't want to be a bother. So, parents, what can you do? There are things that you can do. All right. So, number 1, look for the intent of their words. All right, read their body language, their tone of voice. Are they being sarcastic? And there's a lot that the Peaceful Solution has taught us about effective communication, active listening, that will help you to be able to interpret your teen. Number 2, use everyday chores for one-on-one communication. Yes, parents, don't use the excuse, I don't have time. Involve them in the things you do every single day. That's when the best conversations can take place, when you're doing the dishes, when you're taking out the trash, when you're driving to and fro. Use that time. Number 3, eat together as a family. We heard this from one of our first speakers. And turn off those electronic devices. No TVs, no phones, just you and your children having a conversation. And make time for those family activities. They mean so much to them. All right, next tip for dealing with young people is tip number 9 in the parenting manual. It says, regardless of how old you are, a little praise can go a long way. Praise your adolescent's effort to make changes. Never overlook or ignore his attempts to improve his behavior. Encourage rather than criticize. Motivate rather than devalue. Uplift rather than disregard. Choose your words wisely so that he would value developing a positive moral character. You might find yourself learning some things from him about your own positive character development. Value his input and respect his ideas. So parents, what can you do? Number 1, give honest praise. If your child, and I'm also going to include your spouse, cooks supper and you don't like it. All right, I've been in this conundrum, right? Okay, what do? Be appreciative, but tell them the truth gently. Okay, or you might see that meal again, right? All right, tip number 2, recognize your child's effort to make changes. Acknowledge their efforts. It means more to them than you could possibly know. Number 3, encourage rather than criticize. We are often too quick to point out what they did wrong. Are we that quick to point out what they did right? And now parents, if your child has struggled with something in the past, they are probably still struggling with it today. They just got better at hiding it. Ask them about it. Talk to them about it. It shows that you care. And finally, young adults, there is something you need to do too. Forgive past wrongs. Give your parents and guardians an opportunity to help you. Give them the opportunity to be your parents. If you bottle up everything inside, even when your parents try to pry it out of you, that's on you. That's not on your parents. And finally, for my last slide, parents, don't give up. If you feel crazy, then you're doing it right. Use the peaceful solution to build your children's minds and bridge that gap. At this time, I'll turn the program over to our video speaker.
Hello, my Peaceful Solution friends. It gives me great pleasure to be part of this Peaceful Solution one-day event 2023. The last conference we had was about 4 years ago. And really, what a difference 4 years make. It's almost as if we live in a totally different world today compared to 4 years ago. And sadly, not for the right reasons. The need for a society with people who have strong morals based on positive character traits is never so needed in the world as it is today. So let's just allow ourselves the luxury of imagining a society where everyone made choices based on positive moral character. And this begins when we as parents start by teaching our children, even from the womb, how to make choices based on moral principles and positive character traits of honesty, respect, acceptance, compassion, determination, humility, self-control, and so on. No one is too young to choose the right path, as the Peaceful Solution says. Now, adults make the decisions that shape our world for the better or for the worse. But every adult was once a child. They were once babes in the womb. How much more different for the better would our society be if every child born was taught the benefits of positive character traits? As a mother, I must confess that one of the greatest sadness of my life was not having the benefit of teaching my children when they were younger about positive character traits. My children were already teenagers and older by the time I learned of the peaceful solution. So many things I, as a parent, would have done differently. And even in the later stages of their childhood, when I started learning and teaching them positive character traits, it went a long way in helping us resolve conflicts and respond better to the challenges of raising children into well-adjusted and responsible adults. Although my children are all grown up now, I am still learning how to parent successfully. And really, there is no generational gap in learning and making choices based on positive character traits. And that is why I am so invested in learning the peaceful solution. That although my children are now adults, I am a great advocate for teaching positive character traits to every child that comes my way. Now, children who are taught to make choices based on positive character are less likely as adults to partake in immoral acts because they know it's a risk-taking behavior that can bring harm to themselves and to others. They also know each and everyone has value. They have respect for themselves, for others, and for the environment because really we only have one world. And they are less likely to buckle under peer pressure because they have strong moral values and they know right from wrong and they know how to safely remove themselves from peer company with negative influences. They are also much more content with the little things of life. Their minds are not overly stimulated by the numerous electronic devices rampant among the young people in our society today that is causing them so much distress and depression among the youths in our society. And children who are raised with positive character traits are better able to navigate a world that is so different from even a few decades ago. Right now, those of us in this conference and some of us that are scattered all over the world, we might not be such a huge number seeking to bring up children who will grow up with positive character traits. But a mighty oak tree from a little acorn grew, as the saying goes. The children whom we are training today will one day grow up to be adults that will shape our society for the better. And I am truly humbled to be part of this great movement, knowing the impact that it's going to have in making our world a better place for every one of us. I thank you very much for your time. I thank you for inviting me to share my journey so far. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And I will now hand the class over to the...
I'm Jordana, and I'm talking to you from the UK.
It's beautiful morning. I'm glad to be here with every single one of you. And today I'm going to share my experience working with children and using the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program as an advice and also to see their response and how they took the program. Now, I have worked with children for about 20 years, and in the latter part, I was able to introduce them to the Peaceful Solution. And I saw a very great benefit of this program, even with the most littlest bit that you could put into practice. It makes a world of a difference. And as parents, we have the tendency to label our children, right? We like to describe them as shy, funny, or fearful, or angry. And sometimes these words, as harmless as they seem, can be a label for that child to live up to. And we have to remember that children live up to whatever label we put on them. So we want to keep in mind that when it comes to how we communicate with them, We want to remain in the positive. We want to encourage a positive behavior. In the Peaceful Solution Character Education program, in the character unit, page 60 and 61, it teaches that influence can be a positive or a negative and how they are all around us. On page 61, it shows what or who is an influence. And like I said before, as parents, we use a lot of words to describe our children. Now, I want to share a story of one of the girls that I had. She was 10 years old, and she was afraid of playing basketball. And we had a program in the after school, in the summer program this year, and she was so terrified about the basketball. And every time she would see a ball, she would want to run out of the gym, and she didn't want to get near it. She'll get all riled up and cause a lot of distraction with the other children. And she's like, my mother's going to write me a letter, and I'm not going to be able to do this because I don't want to be near the ball. And every day it was an issue. So eventually it was brought to my attention. I spoke to the parent about it. And she told me how the girl 2 years prior was playing basketball with her dad, and she fell and she broke her arm. So it was understandable why she was so terrified. So now, according to the Peaceful Solution, the best thing to do is educate. So that's what I did. I tried to explain to her how her fear was an emotion, and it was taking over every single aspect of her life when it came to things that she once found pleasure. She couldn't play basketball anymore with her father, which she enjoyed every single time. She used to talk to me about it. But when the ball would come, that girl, and it's like, what occurred? And she's like, I don't want to be near the ball. So I told her, I said, okay. I said, listen, can I ask you a question? She's like, yeah, sure, what? When you were playing basketball, was it the ball that caused you to fall? She said, no. I said, okay. Have you fallen since? She said, yeah. Did you break anything? And she looks at me. No. I said, okay. So what do you think? Do you think that every time you play basketball, you're going to break your arm? I said, I'm not saying it wasn't painful. I haven't broken anything, so I don't know what it feels like. And no matter how much you explain it, I surely would not know. So she understood that at that time that the ball wasn't the problem. And I told her, think about it. Was it the floor? Did you bump something? Did you trip over something? And she couldn't pinpoint exactly what caused her to fall. But she did realize that she had no control over whether or not she was going to break something, because she has fallen, and she haven't broken anything since. So when we start showing the children that fear is an emotion that we can control and put it in its place, and even though we might get hurt, it shouldn't hold us back, because there's so many things that we can enjoy. And like I told her, don't you enjoy playing with your father? Don't you miss it? Don't you think he misses it? And sure enough, eventually she jumped in it. She decided to start playing basketball all over again. But you could see the fear when she would take that ball, and you could see every little bit of her just trying to get it in there. And it was so pleasing to see her mother walk in as we getting ready for dismissal. And there it is, her daughter playing with a basketball. And you could see it all in her face, just shocked and amazed on how we've been trying for the last 2 years. And she's been here with you less than 7 weeks. And here she's playing basketball. Here she's doing something that we enjoyed, that we were able to bring together, but we lost it due to fear. And that's what the Peaceful Solution does. It brings people together. It brings people to understand that even though things can occur, there is a way out of it. And this is what we have to understand. Now, I want to share to you also on the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, page 172, it states, basing decision on facts and not emotion is what builds true moral character. You are better to make a perfect decision when you gather all the facts than a person who only has a portion of the facts. Now, I have this little boy, and he was just freshly out of kindergarten, and he was so eager to take over first grade. First grade. Now, like I said, this summer program was only 7 weeks long. And from day one, this boy was trouble. He will pull tables up, he will kick, he will pull, he will break, no matter what you told him. He didn't care. There he was running down the hall. You had to run after him because he was just full of rage, no matter what. But it turned out that the parents and the school actually confirmed that he had anger issues. Now, he's 5, a few days away short from being 6, but the rage he had was so big, he himself couldn't contain it. So every day we would take a walk, and I had a poster, and it had an angry face with cool thoughts and hot thoughts. And we'll have little discussions. So every time they call me over, there we were walking down the hall, and we'll go to this poster and give him a little card so he could write his feelings down and replace it with something positive. And eventually you could see the changes, because it was just letting him understand that we all get angry, and we all do have a choice. And I told him in one of our conversations, you know, what do you do when you get angry? And he looks at me, and I go, you know, I get angry. I get angry all the time. I said, but I like my stuff, so I try not to break it. And then he says to me, well, I kick and I smash and I break whatever I want to break. And I said, but how do you feel after you break it, after you don't have it anymore? He goes, well, I get sad, and then I get mad again because I broke it. I'm like, okay. I said, you know, you have every right to be mad. Me? I said, yes, everybody has the right to get mad. Do you have the right to be glad? Do you have the right to be sad? And he looks at me, he's like, what? Really? I said, yeah. I said, but let me tell you something. I don't think you have anger issues. And he goes, I don't? I said, oh, no, you don't. You have self-control issues. And he goes, I do? I said, yes, you do. I said, because when you're angry, you lose control, and you break stuff, and you hit people. And slowly but surely, he started calming down. And we did discuss ownership and how people have the right to say no. And that was one of his big triggers. His biggest trigger is he wanted to use something, and if you told him no, it would just break loose. That little anger he had inside would just grow and grow out of control. So here I am in my office, and here he comes, along with another boy and the group leader who brought him along. She said, they're yours. And she walks away. And here they are. And I'm like, okay. I said, all right, take a deep breath. Think about what you're going to tell me. And I finished my little paperwork, gave them a few minutes to think what they were going to say. So they telling me what occurred. The boy with the anger issue took somebody's marker. The little girl started crying because she told him no, but he still took it. The other boy decided he was going to come and rescue her. Did it work? No. They end up getting into a fight. So now they bring them to me. So I go to them, listen, I want you to understand what occurred. Instead of you using the stop and think, you did something. So I have 2 pencils here. This is vanilla, this is chocolate, because I had asked them which one they liked the best. One set with sprinkles, one set without. So I said, I'm going to give you his, and I'm going to give you his. And they both went. I said, you did something. And that's what you always do when you see something that you don't like. And he looks at the other boy, and the other boy looks at him, and he goes, I got it. I reacted. I didn't respect her no. I got to tell her I'm sorry. And I go, yes, you do. I said, but before you go and tell her that you're sorry, think of your options. What were your options when I gave you the wrong ice cream? He said, well, I could have told him I like chocolate. And the other one said, well, I could have told you that I only like vanilla. I said, that's what you have to do. Remember your options. Stop, think, and pick the right choice. And he goes, Mom, guess what? She's like, what? He goes, I don't have anger issues. I have self-control issues. And thank you very much. And I would like to turn it over to the next speaker.
Have you heard the saying, I was raised, I didn't just grow up? We all grow up. But when raising a child, time, care, and concern is taken to teach and guide that child into a productive member of society, a positive moral person. I am so thankful that I was raised. I was raised with morals, with the positive character traits taught in the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. So that's the perspective that I'll be speaking to you about today. When I think about my child, I think about how much has changed. And yes, I'm from that a little bit older generation. You know, born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, the phones on the wall, the internet was the dial-up on the computer that most of the time didn't work, the TVs were these big boxes, all of that stuff. Today, all of that, it fits in the palm of our hands. And in many ways, it has broken some of the family values that I was raised with. Respect, manners, common courtesies. Value in the Peaceful Solution, we learn that they are what we consider to be important, what is worthwhile to us. Yes, some things have changed since my childhood, but thankfully, positive character education has no generational gap. Morals are still the same now as they were then. It's just we have to choose to value positive moral character. Growing up, there wasn't such a thing as screen time. That wasn't a thing. No, it was family time. Being raised in a big family, we did everything together. So family time was the most important thing. My mother, she was known as the strict parent. She was. That word strict, it sometimes gets a bad rep though, because when you think of strict, some people think of military style or force or all that, but no, it's nothing like that. Strict means being raised with rules, with structure, consistency, discipline, with morals. Being raised in that type of environment, you know exactly what is expected of you. When you are raised with positive character traits like respect and self-control, honesty and discipline, you can bet that family interactions go a lot easier. Yes, as children, we all had our moments, we all had our disagreements, but most of our lives growing up were filled with laughter and enjoyment. That doesn't mean we didn't make mistakes or wrong choices. And mistakes were just that, mistakes. There was no crying over spilled milk or the many, many dishes of my mother's that we broke because they were just mistakes. But when we made those wrong choices, how did we learn? Well, for us, it was a lecture. Oh, the lectures. A lecture was sitting down and listening to our mother explain to us what we did wrong, why it was wrong, and what we had to do to right that wrong. Honestly, lectures were dreaded. We would probably take any other type of punishment than having to sit down and listen to a lecture. Yet looking back for me, with some perspective now, I know that those lectures were just teaching moments. Yes, lots of teaching moments. Teaching my mother patience. No. Not really. But what they were it was instilling within us positive character. Yes, that takes consistency. I'll give you an example. Today, I'm all about personal responsibility. Yes, our responsibilities are all different, our jobs, our home life. It's all different, but we're responsible for our own choices. And I think about why am I like this? Well, growing up, my siblings and I, we always had chores. Around the house, around the barn, around the yard, the garden, whatever it was. The family motto was, you know, you're a member of the family, you contribute to the family. So young or old, we all had jobs. We were all taught those responsibilities. Now, we knew that our chores had to be done before our fun activities. My mother, she wasn't a nagger. She didn't nag us to do our chores. She didn't remind us to do our chores because we knew what we had to do. But depending on the choices that we made, they always followed with a consequence or a reward, always. Now, this is something that I still think about today. No one's there to give me a reward when I do my responsibilities or a consequence when I don't. But I know that I'm responsible for my choices. and they do affect others. I'm so thankful to have the Peaceful Solution character education in my life. Thankfully, positive character traits are not just trends that are going to go out of style. They are non-generational. We just have to choose to conform to them. So to all the parents, your job of guiding, teaching, loving your children, it is one of the most challenging, yet also one of the most rewarding jobs you will do. But here's the thing. You have the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. You have the tools needed to raise the next generation of positive, productive leaders. It just has to be practiced consistently. And to all the children, especially you teens, you young adults, who think your parents and guardians are just too strict, one day, you, like me, will realize how blessed we were to be raised by parents who are actively teaching us and consistently practicing the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. Thank you for your time, and let's turn it over to the next video speaker.
Hello everyone, my name's Jordana and I'm talking to you from the UK. I'm very thankful for this opportunity to discuss this great program and how it has helped me in my life. The Peaceful Solution Character Education Program has helped me in many ways, and it's helped me to compare the person who I was to who I am now and to where I want to be. Before the Peaceful Solution, I didn't even think, let alone did I know, that it was possible to develop characters and behaviours to make you more positive, and that choices that I had made in my life showed that I didn't value myself or value others. That showed me that I had a way to go before I could maintain a positive moral character. One of the things that stuck out to me most in the Peaceful Solution is that someone doesn't make you angry, you allow yourself to become angry. When I first heard this, I was like, no way, that cannot possibly be true. How can I make myself be angry when that person has said this to me, and if they didn't do that to me and they didn't react like this to me, then I wouldn't be angry. So it's not my fault I'm angry, it's their fault that I'm angry. And then one day something occurred and I said to myself, you know, I'm not even going to bother to argue, I'm not even going to bother to get upset, I'm not going to get angry, because if I do, it's just me that's going to get wound up and it's me that's going to be annoyed. And then later on it hit me and I was like, oh, that's what it means. If I allow myself to get upset or angry because I have taken their words, I have taken their actions. If I don't take them, then I won't get so wound up. And of course, just like all the other things I've been practicing in the Peaceful Solution, the Peaceful Solution was correct. And that is one of my favourite learnings of the Peaceful Solution. Another thing that the Peaceful Solution has taught me is about facial expressions, body language and tone of voice. I never knew that they had so much weight in a conversation, and they portrayed your words and feelings more than the words that came out of your mouth. So now, whenever I'm in a situation, especially if it's a difficult topic to discuss, I always think to myself, remember your facial expressions, remember your body language, remember your tone of voice. And that has helped me in many situations. Another way the Peaceful Solution has helped me is that I'm someone who really likes to help other people. I love to help them when they're feeling down or feeling sad. And I thought that in order to help them, you must always be prepared to give them an answer and respond to the situation that they're going through. It was only with the Peaceful Solution that I realised that that's not always correct, and active listening is the key, because now I know that sometimes people just want you to listen to them. And all that time I used to sit there and think to myself, oh, what should I say to this bit, what should I say to that? I was missing key points of what they were saying. And then when I would relay my comments back onto them, sometimes it would make the situation worse, and I didn't see at that point what I had done wrong. And thanks to the Peaceful Solution, it has opened my eyes to see that I wasn't listening to them properly, and that's why I wasn't able to provide them with the right piece of advice at the time. The Peaceful Solution has helped me in many ways. It's helped me in the way that I talk, the way that I interact with my family and friends, and it's helped to strengthen the relationship between me and my family. It's helped me to know that I have to set an example. It's helped me to self-evaluate. It's helped me to know a key one, that every action will give a consequence or a reward, and that everything begins with the thought, which is something I just did not know. But the list does go on. I have made countless bad choices in my life, and I have hurt many people that I care about deeply. If I had the peaceful solution then, I wouldn't have made so many choices. That wasn't great. But I have it now, so I now put it into practice in my life. The key thing about the peaceful solution is that you have to practice it. It's all well and great knowing it, but if you don't implement it in your life, then it just won't work. I am so thankful to the author of the peaceful solution and the teachers, because they've taken their time and patience to teach me and to educate me on how to be a better person. And this program is so wonderful, not just because it's improved my life and the interactions and how I deal with circumstances that occur, whether I expect them or whether I not, but it gives you the opportunity to follow your self-progression. And I think in any journey, self-progression and being able to follow it is important. Because, for example, if you're trying to lose weight and you're dieting and exercising, you want to be able to see some of the results during the process. Of course, the end result is what you're aiming for, but you want to see it through the process. Otherwise, you just might want to give up. And with the peaceful solution, it gives me the opportunity to see how I've developed through the process in a positive way. And it helps me in how I deal with situations and certain circumstances. Now when things occur, the things that come into my mind first is, what was that peaceful solution? Did you stop and think before you acted? Now, it's not every time that I make a positive choice, but even now, rather than blaming the person, oh, it was their fault, I stop and think now and self-reflect and like, what could you have done better? Did you act the way you know how to act? Okay, so going forward, how are you going to make sure that that doesn't occur again and you don't behave like that again? The peaceful solution has given me the life map to achieve the goal of the type of person that I want to be. And I only know I want to be this type of person because I've learned the peaceful solution. I thank you all for the opportunity.
Hello, everyone. Dear future child of mine, here are some promises I know will stand the test of time. I write this while I am young because even though lessons don't fade, feelings do. So when I tell you that I felt this before, you'll know that it's true. Here are some things that I promise to do. I promise to be kind and to always be a guide, to be there when you fall and never leave your side. I promise to take things slow, to be patient and hold you near, because I understand that nothing in nature blooms all year. I promise to remember how it feels, to be sad, angry, or frustrated, and not know what to do. I promise to stop and teach you how to breathe and think things through. I promise that when your thoughts start to take control, I'll take the wheel and I'll show you the goal. And in the moments when you don't know the choice to make, or if you don't understand what's at stake, I'll hold out my hand and I'll show you the path to take. I promise to be gentle and never teach with pain or fear, instead letting my words and actions make clear that violence towards you is never okay. And if someone loves you, they'll not hurt you in any way. I promise to always be there with a warm embrace and allow growth at your own pace. I'll build trust and foster security, and I'll show respect and empathy. I promise to listen closely with an open heart and be a free space for you to speak right from the start.
I'll set boundaries and guide you with patience and care, and I'll model the behavior that I want you to share. And when you fall or you stumble, I promise to show you what it means to be humble, reminding myself that I'm here to guide, not shame, scold, or humiliate with pride. And though it will be hard to let go of the reins, I promise to allow you to make mistakes, for it's through tough times and lessons learned that we all grow into the path we've earned. Make no mistake, this will be hard. It will require work, patience, and discard of ego, expectations, and control to help you reach your full potential. Then comes the art of communication, empathy, listening, and validation, respecting you and embracing your views, finding peace and harmony amidst the world's blues. So as you grow, unique in your own right, hold me to these promises each day and each night. I might mess up, I might let you down, but I'll always apologize and turn things around. For only then will you grow to be kind but strong, nurtured by my love your whole life long. Love, your future mom.
Great day, everyone. My name is Irma, and I was raised in a very loving, caring home with very loving, responsible, caring parents. But they would be the first ones to stand before you and say they made mistakes, they didn't have all the answers, and if they could, they would do it again and correct those mistakes. As a daughter, I grew up not understanding a lot of the things I was taught and not understanding the importance of a lot of the things that I was taught. So it was only when I became a mother that I realized why of a lot of things that my father and my mother taught me not to do, and why the boundaries. And I, as a mother, would also admit to you that I could only teach what I knew, and that I made many mistakes, and that if I could, I would go back and change a lot of things I did. Now, we all know that we can't go back in time and that we cannot change our past. However, the beauty of this program is that no matter how old we are, if we learn it and practice it, and one of the speakers said consistently, that's the key, that if we practice it consistently, we can change our lives around and the lives of those we teach. I've been a mother for 35 years. I'm also a grandmother, and I've been a teacher for 25 years. And I can tell you that it's been only in the last few years of teaching the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program that I have seen the tremendous and beautiful ripple effect of teaching it. Not only in my life, but in the lives of those that I teach. Now, technology has increased by leaps and bounds. Has morality? Now, you and I know the answer to that, and that is no. All we have to do is read headlines, and we can see crime abounds, violence abounds. Now, I'm going to share, it's a very short statistic. Neighborhoodscout.com for Laredo, which is the city I grew up in. I was born and raised in Laredo. Today, in 2022, ranked safer than 31% of the cities in the United States. Now, in 1991, it was the second safest city in the United States. Now, what occurred? What transpired in those years? That now it is only safer than 31% of the cities in the country. Well, don't get me wrong. Despite, that the increase in violence and crime, Laredo is still a lot better off than many other cities in our nation. But in the United States, so Laredo has a population of 256,153 people, okay? A little over 250,000 people. And there were reported 806 violent crimes in 2022. 3,169 crimes against property, okay? Now, as a teacher, I've seen a very big difference from how I was raised and what was transpiring while I was growing up to me being an educator in a classroom and seeing how the lives of my students transpired. But I have also seen what takes place when we teach character education in the classroom. I have seen a mother-daughter relationship transform completely from a violent one to one of care and concern and compassion and respect. Now, we must teach responsibility and we must teach respect. And the author of this program, which I had the great privilege and honor to train directly under, was a great example of what can take place in your life when this is what you teach and you practice yourself. Because the most effective leader and the most effective teacher is that one that leads by example. There's no greater one. And so when you teach that consistently and when your response is that of peace and of respect, owning your actions, admitting when you're wrong, being humble, being the first one to apologize even when you believe you've done nothing wrong, what that can do to not only your life, but those that deal with you is amazing. My students went from a group of young people who, a lot of them were known as troublemakers, and nobody wanted them in their classroom. Teachers didn't want them because their reputation preceded them. But I knew that I had the perfect program that could help them. And they learned that it was important to be held accountable. And I'm going to tell you, young people, young adults, I've always taught middle school and high school. Young people will be the first ones to tell you that they appreciate structure, that they appreciate boundaries, that they appreciate to be held accountable and responsible for their actions. It is when we don't hold them accountable, it is when we don't teach that we see these gaps that affect our whole society. Now, I'm telling you as a Peaceful Solution teacher and a Peaceful Solution student, I have regretted many things in my life. I have regretted a lot of the choices that I made, but I have not once regretted responding with peace. I have not once regretted not retaliating. So this program can change the heart and the mind of this woman standing before you, one who quickly chose words of retaliation if she felt disrespected, that immediately would make you pay for your choice of words or your actions, to one that instead will humbly apologize to you, even when I don't know what I've done wrong. And that, my great friends, is this program, because nothing would have done that, but this program did. And I just want to close with our responsible attitude towards everything we do is the best example that we can leave for our children and for those around us. Thank you for your time. I'll pass it over to the next speaker.
Enjoying the one-day event. Woo-hoo. So wonderful to see you all. How many of you are parents? Raise your hand if you are. Oh, quite a few. Quite a few. How many of you have one child? 2 children? 3 children? Okay, I won't ask anymore. We'll stop there. So, having said that, I don't have to tell you that parenting is challenging, do I? No, we are well aware of the fact that parenting is challenging. And as parents, we know that it's a daily, sometimes it can be a daily struggle. But with the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, we can educate ourselves to become better parents, to take some of the pressure off of us. So let's talk about the fact that we parent based primarily upon how we were parented. Do you agree with that? Yes. When we come from functional, supportive families, truly, it's a rare thing. Because the majority of people in our world today come from families that are in one way or another dysfunctional. And dysfunctionalism can run a wide spectrum. You have dysfunctionalism where it's mainly, well, you know, you break a rule or two and mom might let you get away with it, no big deal, to dysfunctionalism where there is abuse, verbal, physical, mental abuse. These are the types of situations that people grow up in, and then they become parents, and then they also repeat the same poor choices that their parents made. And it's called dysfunctional generationalism. Okay. So with the Peaceful Solution Parenting Program, with the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, we can break that bond. Do you believe that? Raise your hand if you do. Great. Now, one of the things that I'd like to focus on, of course, is discipline. We know that discipline is the ability to teach someone to follow the rules, to have a code of conduct based upon consequences and rewards. Very important. It is the foundation of a positive, healthy family. Now, one of the things that I want us to focus on today, which sometimes we leave out when we're thinking about discipline, is the fact that discipline also means creating a home environment for children that's safe, that's healthy, that's a place where they want to be. How many of us as children really enjoyed going home after school because you know that your parents would be supportive, will be kind, will be able to listen? That was a question. Okay, I see a few hands. Great. I see a few hands. So, you know, the importance of creating a home environment is paramount in bridging the gap, because that's what this one-day event is about, becoming people who can bridge the gap and make a home environment that is safe, that is healthy, and help create adults who will then make environments for their children that will be safe, that will be healthy. Can I have my first slide? That would be the last slide. Can I get my first slide? Okay, well, I'll start telling you. There it is. I'll start telling you about this slide. I came across it one day, and it broke my heart. If you look carefully, you'd see that it's actually the drawing of a 7-year-old who depicted what home life was like for him. This was during the height of the COVID season. And if you look carefully, you're going to see that, notice where the little boy drew himself. He's at a distance from his mother. He's behind his mother. He's asking the mother something, and the mother, notice what she's doing. She's still on the computer. And she just kind of slightly turns back and says, no. Now, this speaks volumes because when we look carefully, we see that this child doesn't feel a connection to his mother. And the mother is busy doing something else. She's not focused on the child. So it's important for us to realize as adults, as parents, the need for positive interaction for our children. Can I get the second slide, please? Again, if you notice, the parents are on a device and they're sitting there quite comfortably enjoying themselves, but look at the child. You can see the look on the child's face, the sadness on the child's face, and the child is holding a teddy bear, but that seems to be the child's interaction is with that teddy bear, not with the parents. So what are we creating when we have a home environment like that? One thing for us to remember is that just because we're home with a child and they're underneath the same roof, it doesn't mean that we're interacting with them in healthy and positive ways. Can I get my third slide, please? That would be the first. That would be the last. One more, we're going to get it. One more try. Okay, well, I'll keep talking about this third slide. This third slide, hopefully it will come up on the monitor. There it is. All right, awesome. If you notice now, you have a family. Notice they're all engaged in an activity together. Now, I don't expect everyone to go out and get bicycles and hats, but understand what are some things that you can do in your home to bring about a healthy environment, to bring about cohesiveness. Whether it's cooking, whether it's sewing, whether it's gardening, the point is to find things to do so that you and your children are engaged with one another. And while you are doing your activity, learn to talk to your child so that he or she will talk back. And then learn to listen. Listen with the intent to understand the child, not just to correct. Correction is important. In fact, it's paramount as well. But listening, because you can't help your child if you don't know who the child is. And children grow. They grow and they change. We have to keep up with that. We have to keep up with who they're becoming. Now, one of the other things I want us to consider is that as a parent, we have to learn to assess ourselves, assess our parenting skills. Remember, parenting is a job. And if you were to go out there and get a job, we all know in order to get a raise, in order to get a promotion, the supervisor will call you into the office and will say, okay, you're this, you're that, you're this is great strength, this is that. True? Yes. But as parents, we have to do this for ourselves. And we have to learn to be brutally honest. So what we are looking for, now we have to ask ourselves, first of all, am I building my character? Because we can't raise morally responsible people if we ourselves are not morally responsible people. So using the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, build your character. Develop the traits of an effective parent. Ask yourself, what do you need to improve on? Am I structuring my home environment so that there is consistency, so that there's routines for my child or children? Am I doing all of these things? And if not, what do I need to do to change it? How can I perfect my skills as a parent? Another thing I want us to think about is, are we more obedient to our children than they are to us? I heard someone laugh. It's true. If you're asking children to do a simple thing and they're breaking down in tears, refusals, something is wrong. And you as a parent have to assess what's going on, because it is paramount that we raise children who are obedient for their own safety. And you're talking about bridging the generational gap. We need to be able to raise children who can then raise children who understand the importance of the trait of humility, okay, and being able to function within that as a family unit. Can I get my last slide? Now, if you look closely at this slide, in the top part, you see a little boy being held, his hands being held by his mother and father, and they're walking along. In the bottom picture, notice that the roles are reversed. You see the child who has grown up, who is now holding the hand of his mother and the hand of his father, and he's guiding them, because now they've become to an age where they need help. Okay. When we consider the fact, we have to make some assumptions here and also some predictions, that child was raised to be a morally responsible person. How do we know? Because he's raised to become morally responsible for his parents. That's a clear indicator of how they raised him. Okay. We also have to make the assumption that if we can raise children to be morally responsible in the home environment, those children are going to grow up to be morally responsible in our society. They're going to grow up to be the future leaders, and we have all kinds of leaders today. Questionable ones. Okay? It is our responsibility to raise children so that the next generation of leaders will be positive, strong, moral teachers of the peaceful solution. So we keep all of this in mind as parents, and I know it's a big job. It's a huge job. But it's a job that we can do because now we have the tools to do it. It's no longer a guess game. We have the peaceful solution. Let's lean on it, let's read it, let's push it, because it truly is the backbone of an effective parent. And with this, I'll turn it over to the next speaker.
Hello, everyone. Let's give all our speakers a round of applause. We have learned so much and probably reflected a lot about our own lives as they were speaking. Okay, so does everyone see the shapes? A circle, a triangle, a circle, triangle, circle. What goes next? A triangle. In this video we're going to watch, you're going to see a family who saw their life in this way. The same pattern every single day. They look for ways to escape their problems instead of solutions. When they were introduced to the peaceful solution, they realized the simplest concepts made a difference. Asking before touching decreased their conflicts, which in turn decreased frustration. Because the peaceful solution character education program is a prevention and an intervention program. Changing the world seems impossible. Creating peace seems impossible. This is why the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program encourages us to start with ourselves, because neither goals are impossible. We will make a change within our lives. The question is, what change are we making in our lives? With this, please play the video.
Hello, I'm William. Welcome to the Hawkins family. My family has been going through a lot lately, some big family issues. Dad and Mom are looking for ways to help the family grow closer and get along better. Our family isn't the only ones with problems today. Most are having money problems, and there's flu sickness everywhere, and the bills are only getting higher. The news is filled with talks of war, violence continues at the border crossings, and there is arguing whether you put up the border walls or not. And if that isn't enough, road rage is everywhere. You name it, you got it. All these problems affect the family, and most times they don't even have a solution. So you see, families taking it out on each other as a way to relieve the frustration. But let's get back to my family. Let's meet the family. You have Dad. He spends hours every day away from home working 2 jobs. He is trying to provide for his family the best way he can. It can't be easy. Then there's Mom. She works too, trying to help Dad make ends meet. Then we have Martha, me, William, Jacob, Cam, and Ginger. We are a very loud bunch. We have quite a variety of personalities, from energetic to outgoing, adventurous, reserved, and talkative. With all these different personalities, it is no wonder we have some big problems. Dad and Mom have tried to set some rules to help the family, but it isn't getting any better.
Oh, give it back! Give it back! Give it back!
I am so glad I'm going to college soon. This is crazy. Y'all need to calm down. Come sit down and let's talk.
I want to sit down!
Oh my. I'm going home.
What are you doing on your phone? Let's go. It's time to leave. No, I've got to get y'all to school.
Go. I'm so tired of you on
You're
the
not
phone.
even in
You're
the
making
vehicle.
me. Do not touch my phone. Because you're on the phone, I'm going to be late for work, and I'm going to lose my job.
It's my phone. Not my
That's-
No, that was mine!
Calm down.
He stole this! That was mine!
Oh, boys, this is a big problem.
Sorry,
What is going
Mom.
on here?
Well, he left his at school, and
Calm down.
no, he left his at school. Be quiet. I start getting this stuff. But he left his thing at school. No, that one's mine. I had it first.
Okay, calm down.
Stop arguing with
Calm
me.
down.
I'm getting tired.
You need to calm down, and I'm going to talk to your father
But
when
he
he gets
took
home
my-
about this.
He took my pencil.
I'm going to talk to your father when he comes home about this.
Really?
Let's go.
It's delicious. Just other words, though.
Oh, Martha. Mom's gonna get really mad at you.
Oh, it's dangerous now.
What are you
Mom's
doing
gonna be
in my
mad at you.
I'm not. Why are you in my room?
I want to see Martha. I want to see.
Stop. Get over here. Get out.
I want to see. I want to see. I want to see.
People can just be so annoying. Oh my word.
Yeah,
What are you doing? Get out!
Give me it. I want to see Martha.
Just trying to learn stuff. Let's go. Out.
You didn't do anything.
Go. In a world where people can be anything and they choose to be annoying. Gotta focus.
Girls, what's all that racket? What's going on?
She didn't let me get her phone. I told her that she was going to get in trouble. She didn't let me, and she didn't give me her phone.
Martha.
And she's at her phone.
Open this door.
Why? I'm trying to study.
No, you're not studying. You're on that phone.
How do you know? You can't even see me. All you have is her telling you all of those lies.
Martha, open the door and let me see what you're doing. Open the door and let me see what you're doing.
I'm so glad I'm going to be going off to college soon.
Open that door!
If you need anything, text me since that's where you think I am.
Martha! I'm gonna tell your dad about this. I've had it with you, young lady.
Hello. Oh, I'm glad you have some exciting news because I've had a horrible day today. The children are arguing, they're fighting. Martha will not stay off her phone as usual, and Ginger Snap will not stop crying. You have great news? Wonderful. I'll try to get everyone together, but I can't promise you they'll listen. Please hurry. Bye.
Dad then sits everyone down and tells us all about his day and how he learned about a new program that is supposed to help him at work. He said they also have a program for schools and families too. It is called the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. It was great to see Dad excited about something again. He told us that the whole family will go to a Peaceful Solution Character Education convention. He said it was free. Can you believe it? He didn't even have to pay any money for taking us there. Wow, seeing Dad excited got the rest of us excited. Well, everyone but Martha, but she did say that she would go.
Come on, guys, let's load up.
Cameron, don't forget your drink.
I'll get the door. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fall 2018 Peaceful Solution Character Education Conference. Our theme today is It's Time to Unite. It's time to unite.
Capable, or I should say aren't capable, but don't have the materials available to rehabilitate. Not to say that there's nothing, but when it comes to building a positive character, that is one of the things that's lacking.
In some people, you see a mixture of the both positive and negative. And I also realized and acknowledged the fact that a lot of these inmates that were in the system were a product of their experiences, their upbringing, and their lives.
When we hate people we do not know because of our looks and differences, and tolerance is what we show. But we say we want peace, love, and unity. When we look past our differences, when we see beyond skin deep. These things instill fear, a lack of compassion, and hatred among people.
Now, if we are not standing up and doing something to try to solve our problems in a peaceful way, we are in agreement and support these immoral actions. We can clearly see that our values have been misplaced, and it's time for us to come together, unite for peace, and make a real change.
Because if we don't have unity in pushing the peaceful solution, we're going to have conflicts. We're going to have keepbacks and setbacks, and then the situation will arise where nothing works.
Choices and decisions have the potential to affect even people you do not know, and this is the part that is just really amazing. Once we start to realize that our choices have the potential to influence people we don't know, then let's try to make sure we make choices that will help benefit those people that we don't know.
But I came to realize somehow there's something that I possessed and I treasured dearly that was somehow helping me to have a solution to almost everything that I came across. And it always provided me a pragmatic and a very practical way of approaching things. And this was the peaceful solution.
Why war? Not peace. Where did all this start? Parental mistake is what we have to eliminate. By teaching our children character education.
Simply put, the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program is the escape from a life overrun with anguish, hurt, problems, and regrets.
And what I noticed about all these people in the Peaceful Solution is that they walk the talk. You know, they feel it, they breathe it. So what is empathy? Well, if I were in your shoes, well, you know what I'd do if I was you? well, yeah, I'd do what you do because I'd be you.
And one of the key elements that can help parent-children relationships is taking the time to listen. Our society today has really got pretty far away from communication.
Empathy can be expressed in a lot of different ways. One can be our speech, another can be our body language, but most importantly, empathy can be expressed by what we do, our actions towards another person.
How do we show empathy in schools? Listen. Listening is one of the most effective ways you can demonstrate empathy to others.
What we're learning today is how to shore up humanity, how to cause humanity to have a strong foundation. And that strong foundation is going to be built off of education.
One of the things that we learn in the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program is that all life deserves respect.
We need to feel like in mind and heart. It's time to unite.
Martha, I am so pleased with you. You've been doing such a great job making right choices. And I know it's not been easy, but you've been a really great example for your brothers and sister. Since we've learned about the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, we have made such positive changes. And before, it was rough. We were always arguing, fighting, yelling, screaming. Things weren't going well, and I want to apologize because I handled things wrongly. But I'm really excited to hear that you are striving and wanting to be a Peaceful Solution instructor. And that's exciting to me. You interact so well with children and with other people, and I think that's going to help you tremendously in your growth.
Well, I'm the one who needs to apologize. I was dying inside and didn't even know how bad I was. I was headed down a really dark path, but you and Dad, you found the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program and you taught it to us. And I believe it really saved my life. I really believe that.
And you're not shy. You can teach the Peaceful Solution with the best of them.
In the folder. I bet it's on the bookshelf over there.
Probably right where my charger is too. It's gone. Cameron! How's your markers? Oh, thanks. He didn't even answer you. Okay. What are you doing with my markers? Well, I asked you 3 times.
Well, it's not just about asking, you have to wait for an answer. Sorry, Karen. Is that okay if I close with you? Yeah, sure. See what I have.
Hey, that looks nice. Who has played this game before? Anyone? You have one? You have? Okay, I'll go first. Alright, so what do you do if you had scheduled to plan a science activity with your classmates, but you had to watch your siblings first at home for your mom? I would see if my classmates could reschedule it, and if they couldn't, maybe they could fill me in on their ideas, because we're just in the early planning stage. Alright, who wants to go next?
Good answer. I like that.
Thank you. You go next? Okay.
What would you do if something from your room is missing and you think you know who took it?
I would ask anyone if they had seen it, and I would try to track it down. And if no one knows where it is, I could ask Mom or Dad for help. Because I would never accuse someone, because that is jumping to conclusions, and that is not treating others the way that you would want to be treated.
Yeah, you wouldn't have listened a while ago when you accused me of taking a nip in your background body.
Oh
Yeah, I
my.
felt really bad about that.
I would feel very bad too if I accuse someone of doing something when it's in the bottom of my book bag. You felt very bad? Alright, you Cameron, you to go next?
What would you do if you really wanted to work with your friends on a school project, but your dad said he needed you to mow the lawn? I would let my friends know that I need to mow the lawn first, and then I would join them.
That's a really good answer.
In our peaceful solution class, I learned that arguing never ends well. It's also disrespectful.
Alright, who's
It's
going
Jacob's turn.
Alright, you go, Jacob.
What would you do if you walked into the kitchen and you saw your brother eating a piece of cake without asking permission? I would eat a piece of cake really fast before Mom found out.
That sounds fun.
That would be a yummy, yummy cake.
No, you know what you should do. No, you're right. I would ask him first, do you have permission to eat the piece of cake? If he says no, then I would go tell Mom.
Why?
Because stealing.
Well, it occurs whenever we touch things that don't belong to us.
You get in trouble. It's stealing.
It is stealing.
It's stealing.
But how does that ripple out to other people? How does that make them feel?
And makes them feel not that great.
And
And they get a bad reputation.
And you're not
Of
able
stealing.
Yeah, and you're not
Especially
able
if
to
you
trust
take,
people.
like, if you give a bad reputation, you lose trust, like if you take their stuff.
If you take their stuff.
Do you possibly have or see the self-control book over there? I have all but that one, and I need the part that talks about anger.
There's your self-control.
If it only came that easy. Okay, so I'm trying to do my research essay, and I want to talk about the school shootings and tie the peaceful solution in it, because the whole goal of the peaceful solution is just to place a thought in someone's mind that peace is attainable, and it starts with the choices that we make now. But the only thing is that until we learned about the peaceful solution, it's just like the way everything was going, it's just how life was going to be. So my goal of this essay, I really want to focus on school shootings, and as I was researching, I seen the article about the 2 school shooting survivor clubs, and it was created from 2 girls who were from different schools, but they both survived school shootings, and they said that parents tell their children to believe that school is safe, but they really aren't feeling safe right now. So it reminded me of the starfish challenge, where that girl was picking up starfish and she was throwing it, and the person walked up to her and said, you know, you're not going to be able to save all of them, but she says, but I can change the world of this one. And that's the point of view that I really want to show, that it really just takes everyone looking and realizing that, or being aware that if we consider others, if we consider our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, and really think, is what I'm doing going to hurt myself, others, and the environment, then we're not going to continue to have the circle of violence and fear of even learning that we have today.
You have a really great point, because when we first learned the peaceful solution, I thought it was just for us and our family. But listening to you talk about the articles and what we've learned from the peaceful solution, you can use it in your school. And I called Mr. Hawkins and spoken to him, the principal at Williams School, and they're going to get with all the teachers. And Williams' teacher, Mrs. Leatherman, is so excited to start implementing the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program.
Well, that's great, and the biggest benefit of that, the Peaceful Solution is trying to translate many books. They already have it in Spanish, and they're working to get it so more people can learn about the Peaceful Solution and realize that peace is attainable. You might not be able to change the world, but you can start with the one choice that you're making today. It all starts with considering, is it going to hurt myself, others, or the environment, and really evaluating that, not just reacting, but knowing that peace is attainable, but it starts with me choosing each day what I want to do, what future that I want to have, but it starts with today.
We found a peaceful solution to the problems we face today.
So we stopped that and considered our options. And then we proceeded to make the right choice. We hope when you find yourself facing that time
where you have to decide what is the right thing to do.
Think about what you have learned in the Peaceful Solution Education Program.
Did everyone enjoy the video? Let's give another round of applause. You know what the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program teaches us is that one of the most powerful tools that we have as human beings is the ability to change. And that no matter where we start, no matter what choices we make in our past or what we did before we were educated, we have the ability to then stop, think, and change a course. That our patterns of behavior don't have to be our patterns for the future. And that each and every choice we make lays that stepping stone and lays a foundation for us building a future for not just ourselves, but for the children that will then perpetuate their future. And that goes on and on and on and on. And that's one of the most powerful things that we can do, is stop and evaluate the choices that we make right now, because we know the topic, our children are our future. But we are the future as well. It's not just our children, because we're forming them with each and every thought we have, each and every decision we make, each and every conversation that we have with them. So as we're getting ready to go into our song, as you think of the song, I want you to think of what things am I doing? All of our speakers went over some very great points of how it's every interaction we have with our children, it's every decision that we make, it's stopping and evaluating our behavior before we respond, it's every interaction that we have with them that builds who they are. And when we look at our world today, we see, okay, we see a lot of different types of character. We see, great leaders. We see leaders that could use some improvement. We see business owners. But all of those people started with parents. They started with guardians. They started with teachers. They started with a community. And that community determined who they were and the conditions of the environment that they lead. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and present our choir performing the song, Our Children Are Tomorrow. Please give them a warm welcome.
window, a big world before us, trying to find out how we fit in, growing and becoming with the peaceful solutions. With care we'll grow, over time it'll show who we'll become. We can make a change, starting today. Our children are tomorrow, now's the time to educate. No matter what mistakes we've made in our past, it's never too late to build a future that lasts. We want to be leaders, there's so much against us. We'll push away the negative, focus on the positive. There's so much we want to do. Can you help us? During the day, even at night, we wonder if what we're doing is right. Did we say too much or not enough? To listen, to understand, or to command? What more could we have done? Our journey's not an easy one. We'll listen to you, you'll listen to us. Patience between you and us. We're doing our best we know that's how we all grow. We can make a change starting today. Our children are tomorrow, now's the time to educate. No matter what mistakes we've made in our past, it's never too late to build a future that lasts. We're becoming leaders to stand up and be strong. Pushing away the negative, focusing on the positive. There's so much we can do. It's possible with us and you. There is hope for our world inside. Just take a seat, listen to our advice. Through the peaceful solution, we can make choices that are right. Through the peaceful solution, we can make choices that are right. We can make our tomorrow bright. We can make a change starting today. Our children are tomorrow, now's the time to educate. No matter what mistakes we've made in our past, it's never too late to build a future that lasts. We can make a change starting today. Our children are tomorrow, now's the time to educate. No matter what mistakes we've made in our past, it's never too late to build a future that lasts. We're building a future that lasts.
We had a wonderful presentation.
One voice can change a room. And if one voice can change a room, then
Okay, we had a wonderful presentation this morning, so as we wrap up, let's remember that what we choose to do in our lives does matter, and it affects others too. You're never too old or too young to change your life for the better. And the only way that this program will not work is if you refuse it. So as long as we are determined to continue to become better and move forward, we will see a positive difference. So we want to thank you all for joining us this morning, and now we'll turn the program over to our partners in peace.
I hope everyone feels encouraged by the presentation that we just watched. It's really great to see the young people and the older generation coming together to to bring peace among themselves and spreading out to the world. Now, on the topic of spreading out to the world, we're going to leave the U.S. and we're going to go to the continent of Africa, where we have tons of work going on over there. And to present more on the work going on in Africa, I'd like to turn it over to Nana Ashong. Everybody welcome him.
Thank you. Thank you, David. You know, the Peaceful Solution Character Education the program has really made a difference, not only where it was started here in Texas, but also around the world. And just like you said, we're going to be addressing some awesome work that's being done internationally. You know, but remember the theme for the Peaceful Solution Character Education program today is positive character has no generation gap. And we would like to also go forward and say positive character has no travel gap. There's no travel restrictions for positive character.
Okay, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to see that the work that's being done in Africa in particular is really motivating. You know, we all have things that we can work on, things that we can make ourselves stronger with. You know, and some of the issues that are faced in Africa, you'll find that there are tribalism. There's tribalism that takes place, right? Where one tribe is, you know, kind of opposed or averse to another tribe. Or you'll find traditionalism, where individuals of a specific tradition kind of look down on others of another tradition. Okay, these cultural differences that really don't have a place when you're talking about positive character. And you'll see that the guidance and direction that's given by the peaceful solution really makes a difference in the minds of the people, changing the hearts and the minds of everyone who takes the peaceful solution to themselves and is willing and able to utilize it in their lives to make a difference for themselves and the community. You're going to see it. And the evidence is there. It's such a wonderful thing to be able to behold. You know, the peaceful solution, as the author of the peaceful solution pointed out so many years ago, he said, look, the peaceful solution is something that you can take to your culture, take to even your religion, and use it to augment those those systems that you have, right? Just to make it better. To augment is to make better, to increase, okay? And that's what the peaceful solution really, really does. If we allow ourselves to take our minds off of what we've been shown through movies, right? Through music that doesn't promote positive character. All of these things that we experience is not just in America, it's around the world. Okay, around the world, we're facing the exact same thing. So we do have some presentations from places like Uganda, Kenya, Nigeria, and also Ghana. So buckle up, get your positive passports ready as we head over to Africa. And if we could begin the tape.
My name is Bidan Maina, the National Director of the Peaceful Heart and Mind Changing Organization. It is a non-governmental organization that is registered in Kenya that promotes the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. This non-governmental organization was registered in Kenya way back in 2011, and it has been promoting the program since then through a number of activities. And we have members from various parts of the country. Currently, we have slightly over 30 different branches around the country, where we have members who practice the program and train in it. So our main activities first have been on doing a lot of in-house training, whereby our members in the various branches have weekly classes, where they have speech classes in which they practice to give speeches for the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, as well as study the various units that are taught by the program. So this is what most of the branches have been doing since then to now, and they keep doing it. So we have classes for both young and old, and our members have really been doing some great job in terms of those trainings. So apart from the in-house training, our members have also been visiting various schools and introducing the program. And we've had very great feedback from a number of schools that the program has been introduced, with many desiring that the program becomes part of them. We've also had an opportunity to even visit a prison where we introduced the program. And we are looking forward to where we can manage to make it sustainable for them to be training their inmates this program. We've also been invited in various other forums as an NGO, like various peace forums, and even in some universities to give some speeches with the themes that are surrounding peace forums, and we've really been welcomed so well. The NGO has also participated in a number of collaborative activities with other non-governmental organizations. Like we've had some NGOs that were promoting the environment. Like in one of our groups in Moro, they had a tree planting day in which our NGO featured very well. And we've always been very much applauded for great initiatives that promote the environment. Our members have been practicing this program, and most of them have great testimonies about how the Peace Solution Character Education Program has changed their lives. And with that, we really thank the author for this great program. Currently, what our great members are doing is, apart from doing the branches trainings, we have some monthly workshops where delegates from the various branches come, and we have been covering the various units that are taught in the Peace Solution Character Education Program. So we have various speakers that pick various chapters and teach them during these peace workshops. So we've been doing this all along, and it has really been beneficial. We get members from all walks of lives and ages and even religions joining us for these trainings. As an NGO, we've also been active in participating in the February 12th No Violent Viewing Day, which is promoted by PAVE, which is People Against Violent Examples. And even this year, 2023, our members were active in promoting the day and encouraging others not to watch violence during February 12th. So in this workshop or this conference, I would like to say that in this presentation that we're just about to see, we are going to see the various branches that we have of the NGO here in Kenya. So you're going to see photos for both men and women that are actively involved. And we also have a few photos of the PAVE activity, as well as some of our collaborative activities. And all this culminates into a presentation that is just brief, just in a nutshell of what we've been doing, because I think we cannot be able to put all what we've been doing in a single presentation, because a lot has been ongoing. So enjoy your viewing, and I really want to thank everyone from our great parent organization, the Peaceful Character Education Incorporated, for supporting us all along whenever we need any support, from the training materials to opportunities to participate in the Global Peace Conference. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the viewing. Thank you.
To make a change in your life, there'll be things to sacrifice. Making that choice every day and every night, for perfection in what's right. Learning the ways of peace, not war, to change the pattern lived before. Living the way that brings us love and all of the joy that we dreamed of. A better place for you and me, for you and me, for our children to live in perfect harmony. But the change comes from inside, and you must decide to make a change in your life. It's so sad to see our children dying, mothers crying, fathers leaving home, leaving their families left alone. We must decide to keep the peace. True righteousness is the key. Then will the world be at ease. Living the law brings harmony. For you to live perfect harmony. The change comes from inside, and you must decide to make a change in your life. A better place. Gotta make that change in your life. Better change in your life. For our children to live. Think about the children. We can have harmony. Change comes from inside. Gotta make that change. Gotta make that change. You must decide. Yeah, yeah. You must decide. You must keep the peace. It's up to you and me. Yeah, yeah. And the whole world will be happy. World will be change comes from inside. Tell me, don't you wanna change? You must decide. You must decide. Make that change. A place to live for you and me. For our children to live. Help our children harmony. Help us decide. To make a change in your life, there'll be things to sacrifice. Making that choice every day and every night. For perfection is what's right. Learning the ways of peace, not war. To change the pattern lived before. Living the way that brings us love and all of the joy that we dreamed of. A better place for you and me. For you and me. For our children to live in perfect harmony. But the change comes from inside.
All right. And just a quick reminder, lunch will be served at 12:30, so you have the wonderful opportunity to enjoy the facilities here. So lunch will be served at 12:30, but to continue with our wonderful lineup of international videos, we're heading over to Nigeria.
My name is Bidan Maina, the National Director of the Peaceful Heart and Mind Changing Organization.
My name is Sunday Maji from Jos, North Central Nigeria. I am about to introduce us the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, especially the activities and outcomes of such activities that have been conducted over a particular period of time. We started the program here in Roman month, August 9, 2022. Since then, I can say, and boldly too, that we've been able to move into various sectors of the economy locally here, more especially the audience that we have traced so far cut across the academia, public sector, private sector, and as well as even online classes. In view of the above, we have been able to train, at least for a start, over 50 pupils of a primary school and also kindergarten, where we apply the asking model or module. Here, pupils were trained and retrained and were taken all through what it is to ask before taking or touching a particular possession of another person. They were able to train and know also that once they ask, they must wait for the answer. And whatever the answer is could be no, and it could be yes. We were surprised that many of them did not know or did not agree with the fact that no is also an answer. And that day, they were impacted fully and they were able to differentiate between the two. And this was to the admiration of everybody. From there, we move again to the secondary section, where, depending on their level of understanding, we apply the character unit. We're able to also train and take them through various training differences between character and personality. Of course, these things were kind of done so that they should be able to know the differences here, because it is clear that character and personality, at which many people do not know. But with the level of training so far we did that day, which is over an hour, sometimes we reach up to 2 hours just for a particular session. And the audience, to the admiration of everybody, were able to learn the difference between character and personality. We move on to other higher institutions, especially the School of Nursing and Midwifery, also located here in just North Central Nigeria. These are more advanced students. We were able to train over 200 that day for over 2 hours. In fact, the impact there shows clearly immediately after the exercise, because they were running around asking for more of this to be taught to them. The principle we applied that day is that of character as well, where personality, self-control, and also asking kind of put forward to the students, and they were trained all through the session. We move again as part of the activities of the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program to see that character is built over time. Character is molded. It is not a one-day thing. Character is not a one-day affair. It must be a continuous process. And we told them that they must also consistently apply these principles if they must succeed in life. They should try as much as possible to negate the negative and also accentuate the positive. This is how it can work for you. Because if the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program is only learned and is not put into practice consistently, it wouldn't work. It was with great joy and admiration that the students after that particular class came forward and they were asking for more, like I just mentioned. We move on also to some organizations, especially the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps. This is a paramilitary governmental setup where we are able to apply the principle of leadership and management, particularly from the workplace manual. Very, very key. These are people in leadership position and management position. So they were able to be taken through the various character and personality traits where they have to take everybody along. Everybody is valuable. Everybody is important. Be you a leader and be you a manager. We were able to teach them, train them also to know that leadership is all about carrying people along. We come from different characteristics, different backgrounds with different characteristics. So they need to know this and apply it in their daily lives. We also told them not to only look at the workers as working tools. No, they should also be considered. Their feelings, their social life, because some people come out from home with terrible situations and apply that can affect their job performance for that day. So with that, we are able to bring out the differences and ensure that leaders must always carry the workers along as they produce certain things or provide certain services. In fact, let me quickly say that these achievements cannot be said that they are without challenges. We have great challenges, in which, of course, one, we've been able to have challenges of sending invitation letters and waiting to see that until a northern head is received. If not, we have a challenge. We also have challenges of not responding quickly when we send such invitation to people. We cannot just go and bust out into their community or into their offices and conduct the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. These are some of the challenges we experience. In summary, we can say that this is quite impactful, and we will try as much as possible to continue from where we stop. In fact, it is very, very encouraging. And well, of course, the online program which was just started is also on course. We also invited different people from different walks of life for the online program, and we've been receiving very, very positive outcomes. Even sometimes it is the participants that we even call first. And with this, I believe that we will go to places, especially the online program, which is very, very convenient. I would like to see that it is continued at a level that is to be expanded. Thank you very much.
Greetings from Ghana to everyone tuned in from across all over the four corners of the globe to this year's Spring 2023 Peaceful Solution Conference. And it's indeed always an honor to speak to you all. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." This quote emphasizes that education is not just about academic knowledge, but also about developing positive character traits such as critical thinking, integrity, and empathy. Peaceful Solution Character Education Program plays a vital role in promoting these positive character traits, which are essential for creating a more peaceful and harmonious society. By teaching children and adults how to develop and maintain positive character, PSCEP is helping to build a better future for all. As we look around the world today, we see a growing need for individuals to develop positive character traits such as empathy, compassion, and kindness. These traits are essential in building peaceful societies and solving some of the world's most significant challenges. The PSCEP is a powerful tool in this regard, and it provides a framework for cultivating positive character in individuals of all ages from all walks of life. One of the most significant benefits of the PSCEP program is that it is not limited by age or generation. Positive character is something that can be developed and nurtured at any stage. It provides practical tools and techniques for individuals to develop their positive character regardless of their age or background. This is why in Ghana, we use and teach the PSCEP. Most of you might already be aware of the work that goes on in Ghana, but allow me to touch base with you and highlight a few of the key ones. In 2012, we launched the PS program in Ghana. In 2013, we started organizing community awareness program. In the same year, we organized our first ever school training program. In 2014, we began to teach the People Against Violent Examples program and have organized a program or an awareness campaign every year since then. In 2016, we launched the PSCEP program in the Ghana Prison Service. We trained 26 prison officers in the PSCEP and graduated them in the same year. In the same year also, we launched the Peace in Ghana campaign, which is basically a campaign to educate Ghanaians on how to use the PSCEP principles for peaceful elections. In 2018, we launched the National Character Education Quiz Program to engage junior high school students on how to use PSCEP with music, drama, art, and poetry to create awareness of common, communal, and national issues. Since 2012 that we launched the program in Ghana, we've gone to teach schools, communities, and prisons. We've taught and trained well over 50,000 people. We've also campaigned in a way on social media that has led us to have over 2 million impressions on our posts on Facebook and YouTube. Let's hone in on what this means. Remember, I said that we organized our first ever school program in 2013. In that same year, the first school that we taught the program in has now become the model school for the PSCEP in Ghana. From 2013 to 2021, fast forward about 8 years, the school that we had our first program in now is now the model school in which the program is being taught. We've organized the trainer program for the teachers, for all teachers I mean. We've organized PAVE programs in the school. We've organized PTA meetings where we have emphasized the need to parents to help the school as they train their kids in building positive characters. We've also organized character awards for the students who have demonstrated the best behaviors in the school as a way to serve their fellow students, to motivate them to also adapt some of the same behaviors that can help them and impact their society as large. The PSCEP equips students with positive character traits that can help them navigate the challenges of life and avoid negative influences such as drugs and crime. The students who benefit from the PSCEP in school can develop important social and social skills such as self-control, responsibility, and empathy that can serve them well throughout their lives. By maintaining positive character traits, they can avoid negative behaviors and make positive contributions to society. For example, a student who has learned the value of responsibility through the PSCEP might choose to pursue higher education or gainful employment rather than falling into a life of crime. Similarly, a student who has learned the importance of empathy and respect might go on to become a teacher, a social worker, or a community organizer, making positive contributions to their community. Ultimately, the PSCEP can be a powerful tool for helping young people develop positive character traits that can lead to success in all aspects of life. By investing in character education, we are investing in the future of our communities and creating a more peaceful and harmonious society for generations to come. The program offers numerous real-life practical benefits for adults and children who participate in the program, including but not limited to improved communication skills, increased emotional intelligence, improved decision-making skills, reduced stress and anxiety, better conflict resolution skills, greater self-awareness, improved social skills, greater empathy and understanding, improve academic performance, reduce bullying and violence in schools. Overall, the PSCEP program offers numerous benefits to children and adults looking to develop positive character traits and succeed in life. Another critical aspect of the PSCEP program is that it is rooted in the idea of peaceful solutions. In today's world, conflicts and disagreements are inevitable, but it is how we respond to these challenges that determines the outcome. The program emphasizes the importance of peaceful solutions and teaches individuals how to resolve conflicts in a peaceful and constructive manner. Furthermore, the program recognizes that positive character development is a lifelong process. It is not something that can be achieved overnight, but rather something that requires consistent effort and dedication. The program provides ongoing support and resources for individuals and continue to develop their positive character traits over time. It is essential to note that the PSCEP program is not just for individuals, but it also has implications for communities and societies as a whole. When individuals develop positive traits, they become better equipped to contribute positively to their communities and work towards building a more peaceful and harmonious society. Let me end my speech with a quote by the renowned poet Maya Angelou, who said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." This quote emphasizes that Positive character traits such as kindness, empathy, and compassion can have a profound impact on others and can create lasting impressions. The Peaceful Solution Character Education Program helps individuals develop these important character traits, which can help them build stronger relationships, foster better communication, and ultimately create a more peaceful society. In conclusion, positive character development is a crucial aspect of building peaceful societies, and the PSCEP program provides a powerful framework for individuals of all ages and backgrounds to cultivate positive character traits. By embracing this program, we can work towards creating a more peaceful society for ourselves and future generations. Let us all conform to the program and embrace the importance of positive character development in our lives and communities. Thank you very much.
Yeah, peaceful solution. Yeah. When wars and conflicts totally cease, in a world that we live in, there will be peace. Don't fight for control, don't fight for land.
It was June 2012 that the dream to practice and teach peace was born through the toils of some young men and women who believe in the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, PSCEP, designed to change the hearts and minds of people.
A few years ago, we had this desire to make a difference in Ghana. We realized that, looking at the current circumstance in the country, there was no way that young people like us could just sit back and not do anything about the current state that we face now. We realized that the moral decadence was growing and was on the rise, and it was about time that we, the young people of Ghana, did something about it. In pursuit of that desire, we launched the Peaceful Character Education Foundation, or PCF for short. PCF basically is an organization that is aimed at developing a positive character in everybody.
These individuals want Ghana, our beloved nation, to turn its clock around by adopting this program in order to build a generation of positive and peaceful living through character education.
A very nice guy that you should have been walking about smiling for people to see, oh yes, this guy has a nice face, this lady has a very beautiful face. But you go about every time you are bullying people, you are always walking with some frown face so that people will be afraid of you. Do that consistently and it becomes part of you. You can't even relax your facial muscles any longer. So you are always having a tense face, and under whatever condition you are always looking like some monster. You see, yes. So that is one way of you exposing other high risk taking behaviors. Okay.
In order to achieve this holistic agenda, the need to have volunteers to participate in our Train the Trainer program became our ultimate goal. But due to financial struggles, every individual has to sacrifice every positive thing it takes to make this vision a reality and to achieve this multi-million-dollar task. The NGO, Peaceful Character Education Foundation, was legalized to represent the many voices working hard to change hearts and minds of possibly all Ghanaians through peace education, holding on to hard work and sacrifices.
Join the Peaceful Character Education Foundation now. With peace.
since the past 4 years that we've been launched, we've done a lot of programs. We've trained about 7,000 people across 7 regions in Ghana. We have over 100 volunteers now who are actively going around to teach people about this great program that we have. PSCEP exclusively uses the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, which has a numerous variety of programs aimed at the youth, the adults, children, and everybody else.
Sir, can you imagine Brasari try to even kill me in the car?
What is the problem?
I don't know what's going on, sir. He even helped me.
Yesterday we were watching.
This is how he was even trying to break my leg.
Yesterday I watched television, wrestling television. So I was showing how John Cena beat his opponent. And then I was doing this. Yes, I was demonstrating how the wrestling went. Well. Class, can you all see what went on?
Yes.
What did they watch?
Wrestling.
You can all tell that wrestling is what? Violence. Okay? Wrestling is what? Violence. So after watching the violence, he came to school to do what? Demonstrate what he saw. And he ended up doing what? Almost breaking somebody's neck. This is why we are telling you today that stop watching what?
Violence for one day.
That is what? February 12th. Okay? I've already told you PAVE, PAVE, stands for what? People Against Violence Examples. Okay? So on this day, please.
The Peaceful Character Education Foundation, as of now, needs a lot of support for our program. Because our program that we run is a very, very huge program. And it's a very, very important program because of what we see going on in this country these days. Children are taking up behaviors that are very, very bad. People killing each other for flimsy excuses.
The Peaceful Character Education Program is a very educative, very practical program that when anybody enroll onto it, it will help you as an individual to shape up your character, and it will help you to know how to relate to other people in society.
This program is a very positive one, which I think my service will benefit from it after we have gone through the course successfully. We will be able to impact it onto fellow officers and then inmates under our care to make them positive people, positive thinkers. Beginners like us should be crusaders to carry on the good message to others who are not here. We can even start from our homes with our kids and our wives, and then they also telling others they interact with. This program will go a long way to help the whole country.
The Peaceful Character Education Foundation has been able to train over 7,000 people through school programs, workplace programs, community programs, parenting and prison programs. We have come far despite the many challenges, which includes financial difficulties, just to mention a few.
Our biggest challenge so far is finance, because we need money to train more teachers and to print more books. So far, we didn't send a proposal to the Education Service knocking their doors for us to take the program to the public schools. We are hoping for them to give us a green light very soon. As soon as they give us the go ahead, it means the job become more heavier. We need money. We need money to get the job done. You know, as we all know, and as our slogan goes, peace can only be attained through character education.
Our work can boast of the just ended free 6-month training of the Ghana Prison Service officers, who are now ready to take this program to the prisons to inculcate these moral values to help reform the inmates and integrate them back into our society as better men and women.
I'll pick your phone and call my friend who's plenty. Even if I'm talking at all, I stay in my room, or I go out with a friend who talks plenty. So it depends. You must mix the two nicely in a way that is positive. Character is positive and negative. Okay? So we must know how to mix the characters, because we are all here right now, and I believe that nobody here, like we saw last time, is completely 100% positive in character. We have flaws, none of us, and some people, none of us, which means that we cannot have or say to ourselves that after me, character-wise, I'm perfect. Understand? And so we must learn how to mix them. My friend, you have a flaw here, you have a flaw here, but still we'll mix them nice to make sure that profile, which is his character and personality, is the right one that we can move with.
The Deputy Director General of Prisons, Mr. Patrick Dakumisa, coordinator and facilitators of Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, representatives of the Regional Commander, representative of the Commandant, representative of the CO Headquarters, ladies and gentlemen from the media. I'm not seeing any lady from the media. They are there? Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Participants of the program, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Director General of Prisons, the Prison Service Directorate, officers, and our compatriots behind bars, I welcome you all to this lunch. The Ghana Prison Service is grateful to Peaceful Solution Character Education Program for taking this bold initiative to contribute their quota towards helping the Ghana Prison Service to achieve its mandate in ensuring the reformation and rehabilitation of inmates. May I report for your information that the staff of Peaceful Solution Character Education Program attended the launch of Project Efiase and have since declared its intention to help in the transformation of the Ghana Prison Service. The main thrust of Peaceful Solution Character Education Program is positive character molding. The Ghana Prison Service welcomes this kind of training, which is intended to benefit our compatriots in prison custody.
Fellow Ghanaians, after 4 years of hard work, I must admit that the work has not been done by PCF alone. So I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge corporate bodies like Netherlands Cable Metal, like all the media houses who have helped to publish our articles online and everywhere, and like all individuals who have in one way or the other supported this campaign. And finally, I also want to thank the volunteers and the members of PSCEP. I want to believe that this work could not have been possible but for the great teamwork that I've seen in PCF. I believe that PCF has assembled the best team that there ever is, the best campaign team, the best team for peace that there ever can be. And I want to encourage you all to come and join Team PCF. I want to encourage you all to come and support this agenda that we have to promote peace in Ghana.
So far, so great. But to achieve a true peace, we will need everyone's support in every way possible, so to build a great workforce that is Train the Trainer project. The Peaceful Character Education Foundation, PSCEP, as it's called, has come to stay and need you to achieve this peace we all yearn for. Support us now to achieve peace in Ghana 2016 and beyond.
We give peace a little space like a river flow. Yeah. We have hope. Yeah. Peace on it.
Excellent. And as you can see, that work is still going on right now as we speak. You know, so there's a large expanse of work that we need to do. And we're going to see later on today other places in the world that are grasping onto the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. And that just means, what that means is that we need more teachers in order to gain more students. And more students will turn into teachers, and it'll keep folding over until the Peaceful Solution does encompass the entire world. So with that, that's just a small snapshot of the type of work that's taking place. And you know, we should be very encouraged and look forward to seeing such great movements that are taking place with this particular work. You know, the teachers of the Peaceful Solution have been working online. They've been actually visiting various places, you know, overseas and such, just to be able to get this message across. And we can't grow weary. We've got to be able to take on this task, take it head on, and be willing to push it so that others can enjoy the type of peace that you yourselves will experience. You know, the Peaceful Solution Character Education teaches us the importance of self-control, being able to control our thoughts, being able to control our desires even, right? And, you know, when I see that, when I was looking at that video early on today, you know, you see as they're going through the roads specifically in Ghana, as they're going through the streets, you know, pushing the Peaceful Solution Character Education and getting the word out so that people could see. And they're out there and they're marching like they have a mission, you know. And we all should really take great, you know, enjoyment in seeing these things. The little children, as you saw it, children, and the more seasoned, right? The more seasoned. We all need Peaceful Solution Character Education Program in our lives. So at this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to David for some more announcements.
Wonderful presentations. Before we wrap up for lunch, I do have an announcement real quick. Everyone is invited to dine with us at our seats in this building. Lunch will be served from the lower level concession stand, so get your meal and head back to your seat because we have a special luncheon film which we're very confident you'll enjoy. While eating, you'll have the opportunity to hear some testimonials from around the world and see glimpses of past PSCEP events and the work that is done behind the scenes in preparation for these events. So please feel free to enjoy the refreshments in the back. Take a nice break before we get back in at around 12:50. No, not 12:50. At 1:50, and we'll be getting back together and continuing the presentation. So everybody enjoy lunch.